What's up, y'all? Just having a little tea. Humor is my middle name, okay? Let me sit my cup down. Guess who's back? Yes. I wanted to watch a program with y'all. On my TV, of course. You see this woman? She on point, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? This woman is on point. Not only does she make so much sense breaking down different types of situations when it comes to mental health, but she loves her job. She's doing it for the right reasons. It's not a lot of people out there doing what they do for the right reasons. My opinion. So, what she's talking about is emotionally unavailable parents and how that dynamic works. See, I'm not a psychotherapist, so I wanted to bring that to my platform. So I figured I'd do it like this. I have different techniques, different ideas, so I'll be a little all over the place. Bear with a sister, you know what I mean? But I'm finna play this, and I'm gonna pause it in between because I got stuff to say. You know? And please share this. The more people we can touch, the more people we can raise the awareness within, the better. Don't worry about how it comes off. Ooh, she got her TV in a live. She ghetto, she bootleg. Listen, don't worry about all that. The question is, did you get the message? Quit killing the messenger. Get the message. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Now let's see what she's going to start off with, because it's going to be good.
Hi guys, welcome to tonight's live chat.
Bring it, girl.
I see some of you already in the chat box. It's so nice to see you and nice to be here. It's been a really long week. I see some of you in the chat box saying it's been a bizarre week. That's Jessica J. I'm going to put you up on the screen here for just a second. It has been a bizarre week. I very much agree with that. I signed on just a minute early. Let me, as I always do,
bring it, baby.
Get to Instagram because they're not acting right again. I don't know what it is. That's like Instagram doesn't like me. So it yells at me every beginning of the live chat. As I get set up here, let me just kind of introduce the topic. This is a topic that I never like to have, or I never like to discuss, I should put it that way. Because who wants to have to accept that there is a such thing as a emotionally unavailable parent? Nobody wants to accept that. It's a hard reality, right?
Yes.
Because most parents are looked at in a positive way. You know,
True.
Most parents are looked at as a support system, as a motivator and encourager, the kind of parent that is always there to support their child, no matter if it's a male or a female child. They're there to love and support, right? So nobody likes to talk about this topic, and I most certainly do not. I'm going to add a message to Instagram. I'm going to say, welcome to the chat, guys. Join us over at my channel. Glad to see you. Just letting them know we're good to go. All right, Instagram's all set up. So, yeah, nobody likes to point out the negative aspects of the parent-child relationship. But what I want to talk about tonight is emotionally unavailable parents. And I want to kind of contrast them a little bit between emotionally detached parents and emotionally unavailable parents. There's a difference. A lot of people think they're the same thing. That isn't true. There's an intentionality to a certain extent to emotionally unavailable parents. There's somewhat of an intentionality, meaning it's an intentional thing for most parents who are unavailable. They would rather date than be present. Now we're talking about children, but then we're also talking about adult kids. But I'm just kind of laying out what a childhood looks like for an individual who feels like their parents are unavailable emotionally. But the parent rather date than be with their child. They would rather dress however they want to dress, even if it's inappropriate, right? There are some parents come to sessions that I've had in the past. I have wonderful parents in my practice right now who see me for therapy just for their kids, and their kids see me for therapy. I have really great families now. But years ago, I did not. They were very difficult, very tumultuous relationships, very problematic. And believe it or not, some of the parents would not only visit the school districts or the schools of their kids, but they would come to therapy, dressing however they wanted to dress because they felt comfortable. It was cleavage. It was a short pair of shorts or short skirt or something inappropriate. Yeah. And it just screamed, it's all about me. I want to be the way that I want to be. I don't care how you perceive me. I don't care how I embarrass my child. I just want to be who I want to be. So,
oh my God, that part. Gee, that part. Do you know how many people? Do you know how many? All right, let me calm down. Let me calm down a little bit. Oh, what's up? How you doing, Timothy? Welcome. Listen, I am lit right now. She just said the magic situation. Do you know how many women I know that do not keep their children in mind when it comes to how they dress? And we're talking about little people, little kids. It'll be women that have like a 1-year-old. I'm wonderful. I'm past wonderful. I'm great, fantastic. I'm happy. And I'm great you're doing good. I said that wrong. I'm happy you're doing good. Oh, I'm elevated. Come on. So many women that I've known, that I've grown up around. When I tell you the dress code, like right now, how I'm dressed, you might see, this is a see-through top, and I have some leggings on. I have some knee boots. This is pretty sexy. However, you think I wear this to my children's school? Come on now. Do you think I wear this to court? Do you think I wear, come on, it's a time and a place. But nowadays, let you try to tell a woman how to dress. Let you try. Good luck with that one. First of all, you finna be cursed out. Second of all, it's not happening because nope, no woman is trying to hear that for the most part. But the challenge comes in with the new social norms. It's a lot of nakedness that's acceptable now. When it comes to even business. But that's debatable. Everybody feels different about that. Let's get back to what a little bit more she was talking about. Let me calm down.
That component of it. The emotionally unavailable parent could also be the father who would rather get high and drink alcohol multiple hours during the day than to sit down and have a conversation with his child, because what he wants to do is numb himself, right? Numb whatever pain he's going through, live it up and have fun, feel like he's de-stressing, whatever the issue is. That is also an emotionally unavailable parent. I would rather numb myself, get high, get drunk, than to have to be a parent, than to have to be a father. So this happens for both mothers and fathers. It's not just the moms, but it's the dads as well.
Right.
An emotionally unavailable parent may also be an individual who you go to them for love and compassion, security, understanding. You go to them saying, Mom, Dad, I really need you to help me make a decision here. I need you to really help guide me on this because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no clarity as to where I'm supposed to be going. The parent that is available is supposed to say, yes, absolutely. Let's do whatever we can to get you where you need to be. I want you to be comfortable. I want you to be confident. I want you to be secure and what's the word I'm looking for? Self-sufficient. That's the word. And an emotionally unavailable parent is not going to do that. They're going to say, okay, we'll get to you later. Let's talk about it Friday. Friday comes, let's talk about it Monday. Monday comes, we'll talk about it on Wednesday. Or the parent may say, yeah, we'll talk about it. Just come get me later. Well, you go to get your parent later, and guess what the parent's doing? eating, dating, listening to music,
Yeah.
right? In their bedroom with the door shut, unavailable, just gone. So to a certain extent, emotionally unavailable parents, there's an intentionality behind it. I'm intentionally putting you last. Not always, but sometimes that's really what it is. I'm putting you last. And I come first. Now, an emotionally detached parent can be the kind of parent who is unable, because of a mental health concern, because of a behavioral health problem, because of pure ignorance, because of a lack of desire to build a close connection with you as their adult child or adolescent. Yeah. The emotionally detached parent is kind of the parent who kind of blindly moves forward in life. They don't really put their time and attention into things that matter the most. They tend to be very depressed sometimes, anxious, uncertain about their own lives and future, really hurt and confused by relationships, previous experiences. A lot of emotionally detached parents also tend to have a lot of trauma. So that's in there as well. So for emotionally detached parents, they tend to be a little less intentional, almost like a victim in some ways, right? Even though it negatively impacts you, and you are, for lack of a better term, the clear victim in the scenario, they are also kind of the victim, right? Because their emotional detachment isn't always intentional. It's, I can't be the right parent that I need to be.
That part.
The emotionally unavailable parent often makes the decision to be unavailable. I'm not accessible. I'm doing this instead. Or I'll tell you I'm going to do that and I do that instead. So I don't have to verbalize that I'm abandoning you at all. I'm just going to go over here and you'll be able to determine after a certain period of time, I'm not interested. Right? So we do want to decipher between the two. Let me also say, for those of you who have grown up in a family where you weren't very attached to your parent, there's a huge void that is there. And it is often there because the parent-child relationship is one of the most important, the most significant relationship in the child's life. It is also the most important in terms of identifying how relationships are to be engaged in, identifying what is respectful and disrespectful, identifying those boundaries and what that looks like, identifying unconditional love and conditional love. There's also research that suggests that the same gender parent is one of the most important pieces to the puzzle. Right? So a father is extraordinarily important to the dad. A mother is extraordinarily important to her daughters. Research supports that theory, that even though dad may be there for his daughters, the mother-daughter bond is the most significant. And when a daughter doesn't have their mother...
That part right
Remember this.
We got commercials on here. Let's work with me. You hear what she said? When a daughter doesn't have her mother, when the son doesn't have his father, is you with me? Come on now. And if you know my earlier videos, when I did the audio book on the Willie Lynch speech, come on now. Is that not still popping today? Do you not see the brokenness in our men? Do you not see the brokenness in our women? Are we really that blind? Well, are we? You do the work. You research. Because I've done it. I've seen the numbers. And I ain't impressed. I'm actually upset I've been this asleep and ignorant. But I had to find ways to forgive myself because I've always been so self-critical. I wonder where I got that from. Yeah? Come on now. There's a lot of influences in this world. And it's unjust. It's unjust. We weren't the reason we were broken, but we have to be the reason that we are fixed. We have to heal ourselves. So it's about self-educating. You can't wait on someone else to know your struggles, your traumas, your setbacks, and help you fit. Like, come on, it's just too much codependency there. I'm going to need you to stand up on your own 2 feet. You strong. You can do this. What you finna wait for somebody to come help you for? Especially if you're sensitive. You don't have no ears for criticism. Yeah, that's going to go real interesting. It's not worth it. Let's get back to the content, yeah?
Detrimental, confusing experience of their life. It can cause complex PTSD.
That part.
And the same goes for
That's what I got.
Males or sons who do not have their father. Sometimes mom can pick up the pieces like my mom has. My father left when I was really young, maybe 5, 6. He had a lot of issues himself. Alcoholism, he was in the military. But he came back being really very strict. It was almost like he had an obsessive compulsive personality disorder. He had to have things a certain way, had to have things clean, had to have things lined up a certain way, had to have things just absolutely the way he wanted it, or he would spaz out, And thankfully, my mom was such a protective mom that I didn't have to be a part of any of his spasms, if you will. I didn't have to be a part of his temper tantrums. But when I realized my dad wasn't around is when my mom said, look, he's not a healthy person and we have to separate. So thank God she was able to do that. But my brother...
I want to pause it on that. You see how she grew up with a father that was an alcoholic and her mother was able to separate? Do you know in some situations, especially with PHA, I'm not sure if you are familiar, my mistake, Philadelphia Public Housing Authority. Do you know how that system is set up? If you live in housing, number one, whoever is the head of household, and if you put someone on your lease in PHA housing, you can't just kick them out. Let me let you know how it goes. The person is 2 people, 2 adults, a family, whatever. If the person you want to leave, let's say it's a mother and the father is an alcoholic. He's abusive, he's disappearing, whatever. If the mom goes to the manager, lets the person know, oh, this is what's going on, this is the problem, they will tell that mother, oh, your spouse has to write a letter saying they're going to willingly move out. That's the only way they can leave. That's bullcrap. As far as I'm concerned, that is a dynamic they're creating right there to keep that family down. They're not doing things, especially when you go back in time. When I was younger, they're not doing things to make families healthier. Not enough as far as I was concerned. Because that's the demise of a family right there. Especially if the alcoholic or substance abuse user looks at the relationship as rehab. They're not going nowhere. So now they're stuck bringing that family down as a total addict and no one's helping. Miss me with that. Let's fix that. That's a problem. Back to what she was saying. Ooh.
To my point here, my brother kind of suffered, my older brother, because he wanted his dad. He loved my mom, and my mom was able to say, you know what, kids, I'm all yours and you're all mine, and I'm going to be everything you need me to be as your mom. Thanks. And she was that and more. However, my older brother struggled though. I think he struggled a lot. He's okay now as a dad of 3 kids and on his own. But growing up though, he didn't have that male influence. And I think he struggled and suffered as a result. Not having that same gender parent really made a difference in his life. Mom was everything. But for him, it wasn't. He needed dad, And I think I would be the same way, right? If my mom was, in the place of my father, I probably wouldn't be here today. So having that same gender parent is so significant sometimes,
Had to pause it again. See, this is the part that really breaks my heart and it grinds my gears every time. Now, I don't want to take props and kudos from single parents. Whether it's a mother that's single raising the kids doing the best she can, whether it's a father that's single raising the kids doing the best they can. This is not good enough. I'm not saying the parents aren't good enough. That dynamic when it comes to how a child grows and develops, they need both gender parents, or at least both gender guardians. It's certain things that that young boy is going to need when it comes to masculinity that a woman is not going to be able to give him. This is my opinion. It's certain things that, listen, women, we do the best we can. I have a son myself. I couldn't be everything that he would need. My husband had to step in. And guess what? I had to know how to shut up, be quiet, and step back. A lot of women have trouble with that because they might not realize how masculine they showing up. Do you know women like that? Let me sip my stuff. Sour sop tea. But do you know women like that? That show up stronger than the man? And some women are like that by default because they have to be. And I'm not coming for you. But what I'm saying is know how you showing up. Know how you showing up. Because I didn't know how I was showing up. But I also didn't know I was being controlled by fear. I was being controlled by guilt. I was being controlled by a lot of things that I was completely ignorant to. So it was hard for me to realize anything. Because I was so codependent. Because I was set up for failure from jump. From a little girl. I just didn't know it. And this is what happens to a lot of us. When parents are just doing the best they can in a system that is set up for us to fail from jump. If you don't miss me with that BS. Yo, I am so motivated. You understand? So don't mistake this for anger. This ain't anger. If I was angry, I think they would have cut my live off. No, but this is not anger. This is passion. This is my version of assertiveness. This is my version of motivation. Because I am determined to get this message out. If you don't like me, that's cool. You ain't got to. But did you get the message is what I'm saying. I know I might be dressed all cute and everything. Yeah, this is just the outside. This don't even really matter that much to me either. I dress how I feel. But I don't behave how I look. Is what it is. But did you get the message? Like, you don't have to mess with me. You don't even have to like me. But did you get the message? Are you sharing this information? Don't watch this as just entertainment. Peep game on yourself. Do some well-needed homework is what I'm saying. Because there's a lot of people, especially where I'm from, that are failing miserably. And it's not because they want to. It's because the resources simply are not there. Hey, EB, welcome, baby. It's just simply not there. It's getting a little better today. It's like a blessing and a curse when it comes to the World Wide Web, my opinion. Because where there's so many resources and it can tie everyone in, whether you're in the Gambia, whether you're in the United States, Nigeria, doesn't matter where you're at. We can all tie in and kind of communicate with each other. But the disadvantage, I think we all know what the disadvantages are. So I want to use my platform for good, for unity, for peace, for love, for knowledge, for awareness, because we have to wake up. Stop with the sleeping, because these kids is being affected, because the adults don't realize you traumatized. You're emotionally unavailable. Come on. You don't have ears for it. You're highly sensitive. You're acting like you're not. You're inauthentic. You're leading with alter ego. You got all kind of injury and it came from childhood trauma and you don't even know it. You still surviving trying to raise kids. You're still surviving mentally and emotionally. Don't even dig it. And guess who suffers? Go on, guess. I'll wait. Guess who suffers? The kids. How fair is that? Who gonna speak up for them? Because you see how they turning out right now. Is that because we doing so great? I'm doing very well today, baby. And my family is doing well. I'm going to catch up with you, okay? I plan on doing a video chat with you sometime tomorrow. But when it comes to these kids, they need healthier adults and they need intentional adults. They need adults that know how they showing up. Because a lot of these adults, including old me, didn't know how we was showing up. Let's get back to the content, shall we?
And having that mother, that love, compassion, tenderness of a mom, understanding, the emotional stability that most moms, good moms seem to have.
Preach.
That fighter mom, that mom that says, I'm going to be there for you if I need to lose sleep or go hungry or whatever. I'm going to make sure that you have that kind of unconditional love from a mom. Yeah. That can destroy a child that doesn't have that, So for those of you who feel like you have an emotionally unavailable or detached parent, I'm sure you're like, oh my God, I understand exactly what this means. It's a very, very hard reality. So I'm going to go to the chat box in just a little bit. Just to welcome you guys and read your comments and engage with you just a little bit. But we have a lot to talk about tonight. I do want to drop some terminology for you just before I go to the chat box. And I'm going to give you just briefly an overview of everything we're going to talk about tonight. The most important thing I want you to think about as we go along in this conversation tonight is that emotionally unavailable parents, the relationship is often destabilized. It's unstable. It's imbalanced. It's not a place where you can feel safe and secure.
That part.
To say that a parent is emotionally unavailable is to say that you are not important to that parent. Even as an adult child, you're not important. You're always pushed to the back. And that can really leave you feeling empty and alone. There's a British psychiatrist, John Bowlby, and he did a lot of work on attachment theory and child development and how the parent-child relationship forms over time.
Preach, girl.
And he says that the parent-child relationship is supposed to be a stable one where you can know for sure that you can go back to mom and dad and you can feel secure. You can feel loved. You can feel safe and protected, right? It's really hard to fight up against the world, right? This big, mean, bad world when you're little and you're innocent, right? And you're looking to mom and dad for emotional stability, for food, for basic needs being met. The list goes on. You're supposed to be a child that relies on that parent. You can always go back to that parent as a secure base. You can say to yourself, that's my mom, that's my dad, and I know that if I go over here, I can always go back to mom and dad and everything is going to be okay. If I venture across the street just to see what's over there, this is just an analogy, an example. If I go across the street just to explore and see what's going on over there, I know that I can always come back to my secure base.
Please share this video if you can.
And Bowlby says that's a healthy relationship. That's the way that it's supposed to be. It's two individuals, the child and the parent, two individuals in the relationship, really engaging in what we call joint attention, meaning that we're focused on the same thing. Have you ever seen a child play with their mom or play with dad? And joint attention is occurring when the child can kind of look at the parent and say, look at this that I'm playing with, right? Dad, look at this right here that I'm playing with. And dad says, oh, that's really neat. Did you see this part of it? This part comes out, that part goes in. You take the latch off this one. Did you see that? And the kid's talking to dad and they're having an interaction. That's called joint attention. We're focusing on the same thing together. And we're sharing an experience. And Bowlby says that that joint attention doesn't happen. That familiarity, that secure base, that joint attention on the same thing doesn't happen when you have an emotionally unavailable parent. The parent can care less about what's going on in your world, what your needs are, what your desires are, what cool, interesting thing you learned today in school or at work. They don't care. The emotionally unavailable parent. That joint attention is gone. That familiarity is gone. That secure base doesn't exist. And there you are as an adult child, truly trying to understand the world as it is. And it can be very difficult because you never had a secure base. Guys? So throughout the rest of this live chat tonight, I'm going to break down the behaviors of an emotionally unavailable parent. So we're going to look at that. I'm also going to highlight some of the research And then I also want to give you some insights and information on how this impacts you over time, because it can be a major impact on your life. Can it destroy you?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it can destroy
major
you.
Impact.
But will it make your life really difficult to live? With the reality that you have an emotionally unavailable parent? Absolutely. I think it's going to make life really difficult, and you'll see why in a little bit. All right, guys, let me go to the chat box and are doing engage you just
had to pause it again. This is another thing I love about her. She engages with her followers. So she'll stop the content and then she'll read some of the messages from the followers. And because they're venting, they're asking her questions because she's a professional about their own situation. So she'll read that, put them up on the screen. You'll see what the people are saying. She reads it out. She gives them feedback. She'll validate them. This is wonderful. That way they can get that real work done versus walking around here like they don't have no problems, like a lot of adults I know. Like, come on now. We passed that, let's just get by. No. If you are not well, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, in any way, fix yourself. Why would you show up in the world all raggedy like that and you trying to raise kids? You know that's going to affect your children. How can it not? Oh, go ahead. Oh, that was one of my babies. You know you're going to affect your children. Like me. I come from a lot of trauma. I did the best I can with raising my children, and it wasn't good enough. So guess what? Once I had some challenges with my oldest, I had a very supportive mother. And she was able to point out some behaviors in my oldest child that was matching my behavior when my mother was raising me. But only my mother didn't realize that I had challenges. She just pointed out, wow, she's really behaving kind of like you were, but you was like, you would get into things. You would get hurt all the time. I was high energy as a child. So sitting down, taking a break, it wasn't happening, not with me. And it was like an abnormal amount of energy. Like, I had my mom on. Bless her heart. But yeah, raising a creative child is not easy, period. Raising a child, period, isn't easy, let alone if they're an ADHD or high arousal child. You got to know that. So I went and I got my daughter evaluated. And I looked into things. No, I did not get her put on medication at first. We did other types of things to give her the supports that she needed. But I knew my mindset was not where it needed to be. I knew I was not as informed as I could be. So guess what I did? Coming from poverty, yes, I did. I looked into different ways to raise my knowledge. So any free programs that was in my country, I was grabbing up in there. Any way I could get my raise my knowledge, I did that. I would keep going back to school constantly. I went and I did a room attendant training for hospitality so I can get better with communicating with people because I couldn't communicate. I was scared to communicate. Eye contact, no, I used to practice looking at the ground because the trusted adult I grew up with, if I was caught or if that person thought I was looking at a guy, I would get punched in the mouth on spot or slapped on spot. So I would walk and I'd look on the ground whenever I was with that adult in hopes that, that person don't think I'm looking at a boy. So I wouldn't get hit, and I could get hit in public. It didn't matter if I was on a SEPTA bus, jaw hit. So I had a lot of unhealthy behaviors that I didn't know was unhealthy. I just didn't. How many kids you think have this similar story and grown up to adults struggling? Don't even know it ain't their fault. Don't know they were victimized. Just don't know. We got to stop just getting by. We have to start being more intentional with our own wellness. Because if we don't care about us, who finna care? Who finna care about you more than you? Go. I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. You are supposed to care about you. Period. Quit looking out external for people to care more. And if they don't, you ready to post, ain't nobody out here real. I need somebody. No, you need you. So do what you need to do so you can have you and get the work done. Because running around here codependent looking for your family to save you, looking for a woman to save you, looking for a man to save you. That ain't it. That ain't it, boo. Been there. That ain't it. Less of that is more. You feel me? It's about being intentional. And it's about being uncomfortable too. Because real change, move in. You need to hear this. Real change is uncomfortable. So as long as you're comfortable, you ain't doing nothing you need to do. My journey was uncomfortable as ever. None of it felt good. None of it was familiar. It was real change. So if you can look in the mirror and identify yourself, question it. Let's get back to it.
A little bit. Sylvia Love Jones, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you, Jessica J. I acknowledged you earlier, but I'm going to do it again. Welcome to tonight's live chat. Always glad to see you. Hope you're doing better. Starburst, hello and welcome. I just love that name. I don't know why. It gives me joy to say it. Starburst. I love it. Jim and Vijan, hello. Welcome back, my friend. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. He says, hi, Tam Fam. I am excited to be able to make another session with you all. Hi, Tamara. I hope you're having a splendid day. Thank you so much. It was a tiring day, but we made it to Friday, right? He goes on to say that I was raised by emotionally unavailable mother and father. Yes, we're going to talk about it. It's a lot to get to, but we're going to break it down. Tammy Nicely, hello and welcome. Happy Friday to you. Glad to have you. Juby Joe, hello and welcome. Glad to have you back in tonight's live chat. Kay Jeanette, hello, welcome. Welcome back, Lemon Squeeze. That's another name I like, Lemon Squeeze. I like that. Odetta, hello and welcome. Glad to see you. Says, a couple of years ago, I realized I had to begin to reparent myself. Looking forward to tonight's discussion. Thank you, Tamara. Yes, you're welcome. And I do have live chats where I talked about reparenting yourself and what that entails. So I'll make sure that I post it in the description box when this goes off. That way you guys can have access to it. Dragon Man Sasson, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. I'm glad to see you as well. Hope you're doing okay. Gary Bennett, hello and welcome. Yes, thank you so much for that. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're having a good weekend as well. Cherries Jubilee, hello, welcome. Glad to see you. Live Life, glad to see you as well. Thank you so much for that. All right, I'm looking for comments. Kay Jeanette says, baby. When you eventually have teen kids, I realized my parents did best. They did the best that they could, I'll put it that way, but wasn't good enough. They neglected us years ago. They were so uneducated, but they probably did better than their parents. Yes, we would call that transgenerational trauma or intergenerational trauma, meaning that maybe your parents' parents didn't do a very good job. They did the best they could, which caused some issues with your own parents. Hopefully you can stop it at your level, right? And you can say, you know what, we're not going to do it this way. I can use many of my clients' situations that I'm treating now where, as an example, where, a lot of them are doing okay as parents themselves, but did they have good parents? No. Did their parents have good parents? No. And did their parents' parents have good parents? No. It's a intergenerational and transgenerational problem in most families. And here's an interesting piece of the puzzle. If we're talking about culturally, if we're talking about individuals who are of different races, cultures, ethnicities, it's interesting how you can look at the dynamics between the child and the parent, right? Native American families, Indian families, they have a different way that their families are. They tend to be very close-knit. The grandparents, especially in the Native American Apache tribe, which is a part of my own family, they tend to be very close with their kids, and the grandparents raise the kids for the most part. It's almost like mom and dad had you, but the grandparents are really the wise people who lead the family, through many years. I won't say generations, but many years. Asian, Korean families, same way. There's a difference in how close they are. There's a difference in how stable their parents and their parents' parents were. So there's a cultural and a racial and an ethnic element to this as well. But we would still call it transgenerational trauma or intergenerational trauma, especially if there's been generations of problems,
Facts.
right? When it comes to parents.
Yeah.
Kate Jeanette goes on to say that we have to heal ourselves to be better parents, but we will fail at times. Absolutely, because no one's perfect, right?
Right.
But here's what I tell my clients. The fact that you are aware that there's an issue within the family dynamic is gold, right? Because once you can recognize the issue, then you can put some energy and motivation into shifting the issue, right? So that's the good part about that.
Yeah.
Bryn, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Bryn McDonald, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to have you. Says, emotionally detached is the perfect term to describe my mom. Yes.
That's sad.
Emotionally detached parents, in some situations, they're like children themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they're like children themselves. They say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, upset their own kids. Sometimes the parent and the child are crying at the same time. Sometimes the parent gets so upset that the child gets frustrated, and then guess what happens? Sometimes the parent and the child physically fight. Years ago, I had a client where, you know, she would get so emotional, so angry, the daughter, so emotional, so angry, so bent out of shape, so vindictive and just hostile, that her mother, in order to get her to just stop talking and arguing, her mother would literally jump on her and hold her down and restrain her. And all that girl would do would scream, curse, spit, whatever she could think to do to attack her mother. And it was hard to watch. Like, mom recorded it and showed it to me. And I told her, you've got to stop this behavior. This is bordering child abuse. Even though the young lady was 17, it's still child abuse. But what I noticed about emotionally detached mothers and fathers as well is that they often don't know what the boundary is. They will go and step over that boundary because they are immature, and they tend to need a lot of help themselves.
Had to pause it again. Unfortunately, that was me. My emotional fluency. Let me see. I'll give myself, before all of my wellness journey started, my emotional fluency had to be that of, I'll say a 10th grader. That's what it was. You think I knew that? No. How could I? That lingo wasn't spoke where I'm from. Emotional fluency. If someone was to say that to me, I wouldn't have known what they meant. And I wouldn't have thought to look it up. Because for whatever reason, I'm better with imagery. Words, I would run from. I didn't like reading. Because I didn't know then. I was easily distracted. That's why I didn't like reading. Because I actually love books. I would like picture books more than books that had more words in it. Like, my favorite book, I guess you could say, would be the Tar Baby book when I was really young, on cassette tape that my grandma bought me. And my next favorite would have been I don't know if you ever seen this book. It's called Mammals. It had a picture of a lion on the cover. I love that book. I was really good with picture books that had, big imagery in it, especially if it was about science or animals. But a lot of that, that didn't get catered to as much, and a lot of times I was distracted. So if I tried to read and there's a bunch of noise going on, I can kiss that goodbye. But I didn't understand that. Not about myself. And I didn't have enough support, I guess you could say. Not that my loved ones didn't do the best that they could. But like, y'all know how the story goes. Hurt people. And that's just how that cookie crumble. Which is why we have to do the work. Once we get old enough to be more self-aware, do that work. I did it with my oldest. I had her in continuous therapy. And in some parts, I think she resents me for it, but I don't care. I knew that she was struggling, and I knew that she was going to need that help, need that information. Sometimes doing the right thing, people might hate you for doing the right thing. You know what I say to that? So, in my experience, I was getting a bunch of hate anyway. No matter if I did what they wanted or what they didn't, I learned by the time I got to 9th grade, I stopped caring about like impressing people in a way where I wasn't authentic. I stopped because it wasn't working for me. So by the time I had children, I had my first child when I was 20 years old. And it was very difficult because my emotional intelligence was that of a 10th grader when I was 20 years old. And I didn't know that. And I would get validated when I would do things that I guess you could say were immature. So it was difficult for me to get out of that loop because sometimes we're in a family dynamic that supports that. So it's hard to see. It's hard to catch yourself because everyone's so used to you showing up the way you do. And if they just accept you for how you behave, it's hard to peep game. I was blind to it. I really was. And I had trouble with things like, yeah, I'll give you a good one. My husband, whenever he would have my daughter or he would spend time with the girls and stuff, I would have envy. And I didn't know then it was envy because of my challenges. Right. And I didn't know what was going on with that. Did I do anything to sabotage? No. I just would feel really sad and be confused on why. I was really not self-aware. And this can happen to anyone, especially if you grow up in poverty and you lack the knowledge and your family just struggling, doing the best they can. No one's educated enough. This is unjust. A lot of people are lost before they're found. And I, for one, want to change that. Spread knowledge. Share this video. Let's get back to it.
Savannah, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Says, when she hits me, she goes, well, stop provoking me. This was your fault. Yeah. And it sounds like maybe she's still doing that. That is horrible and awful. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that. I just think that is not the way to parent. And obviously there's issues there. There's displacement, meaning that somewhere she's probably displacing her anger, right? And then to place the blame on you kind of rids her of guilt. So, makes sense. It's awful, but it makes sense. Saint Questions, hello, and welcome to tonight's live chat. Says, wow, the timing of this can't be coincidence. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. Marie B, hello, and welcome to tonight's live chat. I'm glad to see you. Cherry Jubilee says, betrayal trauma. Yep, I have a live chat that I did in the past on betrayal trauma. We will get into that.
Good one.
Yep. Louis S, hello and welcome. Glad to see you in tonight's live chat. Says, can reactive attachment disorder development from emotionally absent parents? I think you meant develop. So, can reactive attachment disorder develop from emotionally absent parents? Yes. That's my short answer. I'm coming back to you. Sometimes I think they'll pass that emotional unavailability to their own children.
Yes.
Well, here's what's interesting. So for those of you who are...
Oh my God, I had to pause it again. Facts. Preach. That is so true. Oh my God. I'm not going to put no names out there. But, my challenges, I guess you can say, I was severely anxious and I didn't know it for years. That feeling of severe anxiety, I didn't know that was bad. I would just consistently be feeling that way. I know a woman. It breaks my heart, so just bear with me. I know a woman that disassociates because of her trauma. I've known her since she's been a little girl. And what happened to her when she was very young was not her fault. Let me get myself together. Oh my God. The trauma is real. You understand me? Unfortunately, this little girl at the time was molested. And I was present while I walked into it. Woo, I can get through this. I walked into it. And when I tell you, when she was a little girl, when I walked into it, she had her pinky in her mouth, her head was turned to the side, tears was just flowing. She had an expressionless face while this 11-year-old little boy was playing in her private areas. I went to protect her. And to this day, this woman disassociates and doesn't understand that why she does it comes from that, because she's blacked out that area of time. So it's chunks of her childhood she doesn't even remember. She don't even remember it, yo. And it was always hard for me, so I would always overprotect this person. And it was mindless for me. I didn't understand everything I needed to understand. All I knew is that I didn't want that to continue. So I would consistently try to protect this person the best way I knew how. And the example that I had to look up to was an overprotective, trusted adult. And unfortunately, an adult that would numb, because that other trusted adult and other adults as well trusted will overwhelm this person, this caregiver. I'm not saying names. So it was very difficult for me to understand things because there was a lot of trauma I come from. A lot of my caregivers been through a lot of trauma. And in my opinion, a lot of them didn't know how to unpack it. Period. I come from a place where people are not self-aware enough to understand that they're surviving. You're not living. You're not living. You are surviving. And you don't even realize it because you disassociate to protect yourself. And when I tell you my heart goes out to this person, my heart goes out to her. I'll always be here for her, no matter how she feel about me. She called me hoes, all kind of stuff. I don't care. Because I love you. You don't have to like me. You don't even have to understand me. You really don't. Just know I got you. I'll always have you, now and then. You understand? Let's get back to it.
Where reactive attachment disorder is often, it's known as RAD, R-A-D, and it's often a trauma-based diagnosis that is sometimes given. There's been a lot of critiquing of the term, critiquing of the criteria. Some professions really challenge the idea that there's a certain thing or such thing in the field. But reactive attachment disorder is usually given to kids who have been in and out of foster homes. They've been in and out of adoptive homes. They've been in and out of the child protective services system, or the child welfare system.
Right.
And, these individuals, it can be really difficult for them to receive love because they have issues with attachment. They don't know how to attach in a healthy manner. So sometimes these kids tend to be angry, hostile. They have a lot of conduct issues. They sometimes do the total reverse or opposite of what you would expect, right? So an example of this would be, let's say, for example, you adopt a child from a foster home and you feel that if I just love and nurture this child, give them everything that they need and desire, they will be happy and they will be my child, and I will take care of them for however long I need to. You let the child come into your home, you buy them everything, you give them everything they want. There's safety, there's no corporal punishment or physical punishment or spankings or anything. You talk to the child, you give them love and affection, you take them everywhere they want to go, you put them in every sport they want to be in, and the child sees that as a complete threat. And so what do? They act out, they become physically aggressive, they're angry, hostile, mean, right? Reactive attachment disorder. Sometimes the child behaves in ways that's completely opposite to what you would expect. The more love that you sometimes try to give a child with RAD, the more they push you back And that's really hard to deal with. The more love you give, the more you get hit. The more affection you get, sometimes the more physical, emotional, psychological aggression comes your way from that child. So to your question, Louis S., yes, emotionally absent or unavailable or even detached parents can create this scenario, right?
Yep.
Think about a child who's in the foster care system. The parent most likely was neglectful and unavailable. That's why the child's in the foster care system. So, yes.
Preach.
That was my long-winded answer to your
great
question.
Girl. Come
Thank you for that. That was
it.
great. MNL Odell, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Says, I also feel, especially in the U.S., parenting isn't given enough support socially. The workplace here is brutal on the parent-child bond. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I think I said this earlier. Culture has a lot to do with parenting, and so that's probably what you're getting at as well.
Facts.
Kate Jeanette, so nice of you, says hugs everyone.
Hey.
Yes, thank you for that. Same to you, Kate Jeanette. Mr. Ellipse says hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. You're the last comment before I go back to the content. Mr. Ellipse says, I'm 10 minutes behind, but my ex has given up her child for her new man. I still her as my stepdaughter. I still see her as my stepdaughter.
Oh my God.
And she feels like I'm her real parent. Dude. Because both of her parents have given up on her. Yeah,
I know somebody like
awful.
that.
That's awful. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes a step parent can step in and be that child's confidant, right? Because the biological parents strictly don't care. Not your responsibility, Mr. Ellipsis, but it sounds like you have a loving, caring heart and you're willing to be there. And that's fantastic. That's wonderful.
We need more people like him.
Sorry about the situation, though. It's pretty despicable, if you ask me. One of the things I've noticed, let's get back into the content, guys. One of the things I've noticed with parents like this is that they absolutely do not care about their children, and they really don't care about you when you pass the age of 18. It's almost like, thank God you're 18. Goodbye. Glad to see you go. Because I want nothing to do with you anymore. Yep. You're going to get a job. You're going to go to school. You're going to buy your own stuff. You're going to get your own car. You're going to get out of my life.
Facts.
To a certain extent. Because I want to live it up. I want to party. I want to be with men. I want to be with women. I want to do my own thing. And you're in the way. And I've seen parents like that, and my blood just boils, right? Because it's not a parent who gives their all to the child or to you, even as the adult child. The parent doesn't give their all to you.
I had to pause it again. Girl, you on fire. Oh my God. You know how many people I know that's sitting around waiting for their child to turn 18? Like, it's like they... Listen, Lord knows I know it's not easy raising a child. So don't feel came for. I ain't trying to come for y'all. I'm just really trying to spread this awareness, you know, because I don't see too many platforms that do it kind of like how I do it. So I'm trying to bring something fresh and unique to the table. But when I tell you what she's saying is facts, Lord, she preaching. Oh my God. I know too many people that will throw their kids on a babysitter on the weekend quick to go party. Word up. First of all, you increase the chance of something happening to your child when you constantly handing them over because you want to do the most. They didn't ask to be born. Once you have a child, it's about them, not you. Yeah, that's over. It just is. Unless you have a situation where you have like a trusted adult system and you do it in a way that's, I guess you could say, more acceptable. But I know people that's finna go out almost every damn weekend. Let me calm down. Because me, I didn't do that. Sometimes did I want to? I'm gonna lie. Yeah, I did want to go out. I did want to finna party and get it on. But I couldn't look at my kids and feel just like that's okay to be doing. If something about it innately felt wrong to do. So I would lessen those type of things. I really did. So it's just, it would drive me nuts when I would see, especially if it was a mother, that would pull on my heartstrings. Because a lot of times dad is, usually working, but everyone's parenting dynamic is a little different. Sometimes dad could be staying at home more, mom's working, and vice versa. But when you got a mom that's trying to hit the street all the time, oh my God, that's an injury to the kids. Oh my God, that's a great injury to the kids. You could say what you want. As far as I'm concerned, you out of pocket. You out of pocket. Especially if you raising a creative child. Word, I know adults that have put their kids to bed and dipped out. That's not okay. No one's perfect though. Even I've made mistakes, but it's about being able to be accountable, having ears to hear it versus walking around hearing your feelings all day long, ready to defend yourself. Cause no, it's not about that. Because as you can see, these kids is a problem now today, are they not? Right. So we want to do this right. We want to stop making excuses for our behavior as parents. And look at this time we living in. Hypersexual is the new norm. Even the kids having sex younger. Come on now. How many adults do you know are completely addicted to sex and all the attention that surrounds it? How many women turning around to take their pictures? You can scroll through all my stuff. You won't see me turn around taking no damn picture. That's for sure. This is where you going to see. You understand? My worth ain't back there. Again, I'm not coming for nobody that does it. I'm speaking facts and I'm speaking my opinion. Sue me. Because the kids watching this. Look at the kids. That should tell you enough. We ain't gonna just keep sitting here pointing at them like we ain't giving them stuff to watch. Didn't we watch some stuff when we was kids? Come on now, start with yourself. Use your brain. Didn't we get influenced? Well, did we? Come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Exactly, right. Thank you for that, validating that. EB, thank you. Because it's a big problem. And it's in a lot of adults that's walking around here in their feelings. And at the same time, you all in your feelings, but look at your child. Look at your child. And then look at your lack of patience for them. Like me, I didn't even know I was emotionally or mentally unhealthy. I was running behind my kids like I was being paid to. You understand me? And I almost died. I had a whole panic attack that I gifted myself because I didn't know how to turn my fight or flight system off. I've been walking around here under panic and not knowing that that's what it was. I didn't know that you can control your anxiety just through breathing and meditation. I wish somebody had told me that a long time ago. I didn't know we panic ourselves into an attack. You know how stupid I felt in the hospital once they was explaining this to me? But they didn't completely explain it down. I had to research this. I had to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody to get certain information that is not available. Because like I said, certain things is set up so you can need pharmaceuticals. So it ain't about giving you complete and total information. It's about giving you a little bit so you can just get by. See, I ain't trying to get by. I'm trying to thrive. I don't want to be on medication to control me. I want to control me. So why don't you teach me how to do that? We ain't got enough of that going on. Yeah, it's a little bit more today with the help of the World Wide Web and you being able to get other informations and resources, but they control that World Wide Web. Think they don't? Come on now. You gotta understand the bigger picture. Sometimes we get lost in these details. No, that ain't good enough. Get the bigger picture so you can do better for yourself. Because not everybody has a fair shot at being successful in life. Sometimes people out here robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it's really sad. We have to do better. We have to raise our children better because look at what the world is turning into. Look at the kids, y'all. Oh God, look at the kids. The kids is higher than the adults. The kids having more sex than the adults. Something's wrong. We need to call it out and stop normalizing it. It's bad enough we have musicians like Ice Spice, Meg Thee Stallion normalizing being naked on TV. Now we got young girls on TikTok, on Instagram, mimicking this. Really? Word? These girls don't know nothing about falling in love. All they know is falling in lust and falling in limerence. I got videos on limerence and information. Go visit my page. I'm exhausted just watching the demise of our people. It must stop. It must stop. And it starts with me, just like it starts with you. You don't need to run your mouth. The proof is in the pudding. Show up in your behavior. That's how you promote change. Quit telling people what to do. Show them. See, now that's where it gets hard, because then you got to be actively doing work your damn self if you want to show them. But who feel like doing all that? I ain't doing all that. You want to sit and feel sorry for yourself, make excuses, find ways to numb, just get by. That ain't good enough. It ain't. We better than that. Don't y'all know that? We're better than that. We always been. There's reasons for this. Just think of the Willie Lynch speech. I got a video on that. I had a video earlier in my content, an audio book I shared with you guys. They used the N-word in that book so much. I swear, if we could get $100 for how many times they used the N-word in that Willie Lynch book, we have a good bit of money. It was very hard for me to listen to that. But the reality of it was mind-blowing. Why can't I could see the Willie Lynch speech in the people today. That brokenness where they targeted the woman to get to the black man by beating him in front of her, whether it was, her man, and making sure that she watched with the kids, putting so much fear in that woman, beating that man to close to death to teach her your son is next. So guess what she did? Oh, you ain't beating my son to death or close to it. So she breaks his masculinity. That way he's the perfect slave. That's an ancestral wound in our people, in our men, in our women. The mentality is to break the man. Have him as feminine as possible. That way he's controllable. Do you know how dope the black man is? Do you understand how awesome, man? And I ain't taking away from any other race of people. All men have greatness. But it's certain types of men that were targeted. And it wasn't just the black men now. Don't get me wrong. I'm just speaking for that because that really hurt me when I heard that Willie Lynch speech. Oh my God, that hurt my feelings. I might as well been right back there when it happened. And then I'm a visual. Oh my God. It touched my soul. And I can see it today. I think that's the biggest part of it for me. I can see it in our people today. The mindset. It is there. That Willie Lynch breaking, like buck breaking of the black man, that's in our DNA passed down, baby. You got to know that. You need to know our history so we don't keep repeating it. This is problematic, people. Let's get back to the content. Woo, baby. Come on now.
It's not like they're giving their all and then they just need a break. No, I'm not giving any of myself to you at all. Stay over there and just be you. I know I had you, but stay over there and do what you want to do. And some parents do that, right, guys? Before we get into what this kind of a parent actually looks like, some parents are like that, right? They totally have the child, clothe them, feed them, give them a place to sleep. But the child is running the streets, or partying or sleeping around, or they may even be in a very bad situation at their friend's house. There's always something going on, and the parent is just very absent-minded. As the adult
Thank you for
child,
the love, E-Big.
there may be a situation where you wish you just had a mom or a dad you could just call and talk to. Something bad happened at work today. Can I call my mom or my dad? Something bad happened between me and my spouse. Can I call you and talk to you about it? We just had a natural disaster, a hurricane, a rainstorm, a snowstorm. Can we come stay with you? Emotionally unavailable parents are not there to be that kind of a parent to you as the adult child. So what are, I should say, the characteristics of an emotionally unavailable parent? The first thing that psychology highlights, and I've seen this, in a pattern in all the research that I reviewed for this live chat tonight, is hostility, anger, and rage. Hostility, anger, and rage. It's almost like you're here.
I voted for Trump.
Hostility, anger, and rage. Facts. Oh my God, she's preaching. Girl, I got the spirit. I love this woman. That's a commercial. I just muted it. Oh my God. And there's too many parents that's emotionally unavailable raising children. Guess what you're doing? Go on, guess. You took too long. I'm finna tell you. You're destroying your children emotionally. Let's get back to it.
So they snap with you, they argue, they're mean, they may curse you out. They just completely have this defense wall up. There's no room for you.
That part.
To just be a part of this parent's life because they push you out of it. You're out of my life, you're gone. I don't want anything to do with you. There's also what we call permissiveness, or in some cases, at least for children and teens, it may be titled gentle parenting. I like the concept of gentle parenting, but did you know that sometimes gentle parenting could be a parent that just doesn't want to have to keep telling the child not to behave a certain way, how to cooperate and be mannerable, how to do what they need to do in a way that's not going to affect other people. Some parents are like, oh, I'm just gentle. This is for little kids and teenagers. I'm just gentle parenting. No, you're not. You're letting your kids terrorize. And there's a difference between gentle parenting and, really allowing kids to explore versus a parent who just lets their kids run around and terrorize and tear up things.
I know some people that do that too.
Now, for adult children, which is likely you, those of you who are on here with me tonight, you may have had a parent growing up that was very permissive. They didn't sit with you and do homework. They don't sit with you now and talk about your problems. You call them and they talk to you like you're their parent rather than the reverse, right?
Right.
And you may also experience what we call emotional incest, meaning that you are seen as the parent and the parent is taking the role of a child. And you are treated in a way that feels like you are coaching your own parent, supporting your own parent, showing the unconditional love that a parent would to their child when you're talking to your parent. You may also notice that if you're not put in the role of being their parent, you might be put in the role of being their spouse. That is also emotional incest, right?
Oh my God.
I'm going to talk to you like you are my husband. I'm going to talk to you like you are my wife. I'm going to make sure that I have a relationship with you that is not a parent-child relationship. It's a spouse relationship, or you're my parent kind of a thing, right? So you may be experiencing emotional incest, and maybe you experienced that growing up. Parentification is also another behavior that you are likely to see in this dynamic, right? You have an emotionally unavailable parent, they're going to parentify you. Go pick up your brother from school. He needs you. I'll meet you guys for dinner.
Right.
You go pick up your brother. Your mom calls you. This is just an example. This happened to me a couple years ago with a client. Go pick up your brother from school. You think, I'm going to go hang out with DJ later. I'm just going to drop you off at home. Mom calls you and says,
I understand, EB.
Dinner's going to be late. Can you take him to go get something to eat? And then can you go past Target and pick up his clothes? I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to buy. So you take him to go get food. You go to Target, then you realize you're low on gas. You got to go fill the gas tank up. And then guess what? Mom calls you back. Can you drop by the grocery store? What's happening there? Right? Emotional incest. You're now serving a role that doesn't belong to you.
Right.
You're being kind of forced into that role. So this is a a dynamic that can happen with an emotionally, unavailable parent. The parent says, you know what, I'm going to check out. Or, the parent says, I'm overwhelmed today, so I'm just going to ask my son to go do these errands for me. And sometimes parents need help, right? But other times it's emotional incest. It's very unhealthy. You may also have a parent that displays...
Had to pause it again. Emotional incest. When I tell you, not only did that happen to me, so many people I know has went through that. The role reversal. You see this heavy in traumatized communities where it's a lot of struggle, poverty. Oh my God. Drug abuse, alcoholism. Oh God, let me get myself together. Because I'm all authentic here. I am not holding back. So I can't start crying at a second. But, I'm not going to hide it because I'm human. Flaws and all. Take it or leave it. Emotional incest is a definite problem with emotionally unavailable parents. I know a woman that has done that to her son. Oh, God. Let me get myself together. Woo, baby. I know a woman that has done that to her son. I know a woman that's done that to her son and daughter. I know it too much. I just didn't know what it was called. Of course, I know now. I'm just preaching to y'all about where I was. Emotional incest is a big problem. I know it happened. A woman did it to her son. Another woman. Oh my God. You're putting children in roles of the missing parent. Sound familiar? Where that older child or that older sibling or whatever role, whatever part that child is, whether it's the oldest child, the middle child, youngest, doesn't matter. Emotional incest is bad, period. Where you got that child taking on the role of the missing parent. Or you got that child so embedded in your personal life, they're your emotional support. I love you too, baby. They're your emotional support where you supposed to be showing up for them. Oh my God. Woo, boy, it make me want to hit something, but we ain't gonna advertise violence. It's coming from the deep pits of my soul. Are you kidding me? I advocate for children, including inner children of adults. Because just because you're an adult doesn't mean you don't matter no more. Come in. You always will matter. Period. And that is some unjust stuff to watch. To watch a child be overly adult. I'm live, baby. What's going on? That's my son. Watching a child replace the parent, and you just sitting there, like in my experience, I'm sitting here watching this boy have way too much responsibility, and I know it's wrong, but I can't tell another parent what to do. Okay. Spending the night?
Yeah, I was just letting you know.
Okay. Thank you for communicating. Excuse me, y'all. That was just my son for a brief second. But when I tell you my heart broke because I know that this boy been wanting his mother to show up emotionally for him. And when I tell you she is so absent, when I tell you she is so traumatized, when I tell you she's so goal-oriented and driven that she can't even see how unavailable she is. When I tell you she uses men to self-soothe, to make her inner child feel better, feel safe, feel everything that she feel like she didn't get when she was a child. When I tell you I know a lot of women that have been traumatized and raised by unavailable parents. No matter what way they were unavailable. When I tell you breaks my heart. When I tell you there are family that are not calling out the toxic family members that may need help. When I tell you it's 302s that could happen that did not happen. When I tell you sitting there just idly by watching the downfall of families and just speculating from the outside in versus doing something to help. Trifling. That's just how I feel. Period. I've never seen something and not tried to help. I have some regrets for sure. But oh my God. Children is getting destroyed out here. And a lot of the times the parents aren't doing this on purpose. They don't even know that they're broken. They don't even know it. And who's finna tell them? Especially if they're narcissists, codependent. Who want that problem? Right. But then you have people out here that are using these people. Oh my God. It's just it's the foulest thing to witness. And the kids suffer. Oh God, they suffer greatly. The parents are already suffering, especially if they're coming from their own trauma and just trying to do the best they can. But it's so many parents that numb. And you can't raise children numb. What are you doing? How are they going to be emotionally intelligent if you're not even available to teach them? Parenting is more than just assigning your children with chores, feeding them and buying clothes and sending them to bed. It's way more than that. You got to bond with children. You have to mentor children. And for God's sakes, you got to be available spiritually, available mentally, available emotionally, available physically. You got to be available. How you going to raise a child and you ain't available? Come on now. These kids are suffering. God, it kills me. I swear it do. I give a million shits. I do. I really do. Let's get back to this content. Woo, baby.
A lot of unresolved challenges and a lot of unresolved mental health problems. And it kind of falls into your life, right? You have a parent that's hearing or seeing things that's not there. They tend to be very obsessive, argumentative, hostile, mean, reactive, impulsive, if I didn't already say that, inattentive, they're disinterested,
exactly,
right? And sometimes that can fall over into your life where now you have to kind of carry the parent. You may feel like the parent's a burden to you, right? They're emotionally checked out. You are the one putting up all the energy, and that can be really tiring, right? You may also experience just pure abandonment.
Oh my God.
Pure abandonment, right? Sometimes that parent who's emotionally unavailable, they don't care to hear about what you're going through. They don't care to live in the same state as you, or at least live near you. They don't want anything to do with your life. If you stop calling them, they're going to stop talking to you because they really don't feel the need to reach out. You know, my maternal grandfather, so my mom's father, my uncle's father, was basically this way. It felt like abandonment because what he did is, I'll share this with you because I think it's therapeutic. What he did when my mother was an adolescent, she might have been like 18, 19, 20, somewhere around in there. He had an affair. He had an affair on my grandmother. My grandmother she was wonderful. You know, she's my late grandma. She was wonderful. But the issue was her alcoholism. And I truly believe that was a turnoff for my grandfather. So he ended up having an affair. Instead of just doing the right thing, just divorce her. You know, he had grounds to divorce her, but he just didn't do that. He decided to be sneaky and go behind her back. And, you know, he had an affair, got into a relationship with this new woman, took on her children as his own, and then they had one child together. But what I noticed over many years, and I think my cousins can also vouch for this as well, that we didn't really have a grandfather. Why? Because it was almost like, and my mother and my uncle didn't have a father, because it was almost like my grandfather said, you know what, I'm emotionally unavailable to you guys because I'm putting so much of my emotional energy over here. So I'm putting my emotional energy into my new family. So therefore, you guys are probably going to feel slighted. And it felt like we were slighted, you know. My cousins and I think we could very much agree on that. That it almost felt like emotional abandonment. And I know my mom and her brother can agree to that as well. So there is going to be
Had to do it again, y'all. I know a few people that went through that. That breaks my heart. That is terrible. Right, EB? Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't even know where to start. The trifling levels is so high, y'all. Oh my God. When a man or a woman cheats on their spouse, oh my God, and may start a family somewhere else, and then act like they don't already have children, and you just completely abandon them. Do you know how many people have went through that? And now they have siblings that number one, they don't know, weren't raised with, And dad is raising them, but abandoning us. Do you understand the wound that creates? OMG. Not fair. That has happened to a lot of people I know. It's the most heartbreaking thing. You know that father probably has problems. How are you going to start a family and then for whatever reason decide to leave that family, start a new one, and raise those children and leave these ones out? Word? You creating envy right there. Yeah, I said it. That first batch of kids, you think they gonna like their siblings? You think they gonna like? Think about it, y'all. If your dad or mom dip out, you don't see them no more ever again. Or maybe they on child support. Who knows? They dip out, and then you find out years later, or maybe even decades later, you got whole siblings, didn't know it. You ain't seen your pop or mom decades. But let's say you meet your siblings and the parent introduces them as their kids and they say, oh, well, meet Jennifer. Like, why you calling me Jennifer? I'm your daughter too. Like, do you understand the wound you create in children and in adult children like that? And the adults are just expected to just be so mature with that kind of an emotional scar? No. And you ain't right if you tell somebody to get over that. You get over it. Maybe you're not what you shouldn't be in their life. If you don't have the compassion, if you don't have the sympathy, the empathy, less is more. Go that way, respectfully. You don't want none of this. You can't handle none of this up in here. So get out of here. Because you're invalidating causes wounds. This is why the suicide rates are so high. The crime rates are so high. We got people running around here invalidated, underparented, neglected, abused, traumatized, and everybody just saying, get over it, get a job bump. Like, where is the compassion? Where is the love? Where's the awareness? Where's the knowledge? People are too quick to judge, run their mouth, but what are you doing to help? Squeeze me. What are you doing to help other than gossiping amongst family members? Let's do less of that. Let's shut your mouth. Let's find a way to do the right thing. If you want to be in the business, do something productive. Let's care. Let's do things for the right reasons. Not just sitting dogging out family members, talking behind people's back. Oh, such and such did this. Oh, such and such. Do you know such and such's story? Just like me. I've been trashed. But guess what? Didn't nobody know my story. And some people made sure of that. Like my abuser, for one. Yeah, y'all. Because I'm speaking from home base. I'm not just talking at y'all. I've went through some stuff to get where I am today. I've been silenced. I've been controlled. I've been abused. I've been used. It didn't feel very good at all. But guess who got survival mode built in? Your girl right here. I know how to survive. I know how to live. I know how to thrive. I'm self-motivated. I got knowledge for that bum. You understand what I'm saying? You can't tell me much of nothing right now. Am I open for more knowledge? Absolutely. But you can't tell me what I already know. And those type of dynamics are heartbreaking. And I know a lot of adults that they're estranged from their own siblings because of that envy. That is sad. And it's really not even their fault. Because they have a childhood wound. Some of them don't even know it. Don't even know that they have a wound, and that's why they want to drink alcohol. That's why they want to smoke weed. That's why they want to do crack. That's why they're shooting up heroin, because they want the pain to stop. But no one's teaching them how that works. So people go to what's available. But sometimes what's available is so toxic and addictive, you got one time to use it and you just lost your soul. We need to start being awake to what the problem is and stop walking around here like bumper cars just bumping into each other, solutionless. Come on now. Oh my gosh, she preaching. Oh boy. Come on. I'm finna press play. Sister Soldier doing it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Intimate with these kind of parents, they don't know how to give of themselves emotionally to you, and if they develop like my grandfather did, a whole new family, you can just forget about it. Your history, right? So that's a part of this puzzle. And lastly, let me also say, with these kind of parents, you are likely to see what we call numbing behaviors. They're constantly looking for a way to just check out, zone out, dissociate, detach. They don't want to be a part of life and reality. They don't see the point in being that way. So what do? They check out. I'm going to drink, so many glasses of alcohol, so many beers, so many glasses of wine until I can't think straight, until I'm ready to go to bed. I'm going to smoke a lot of dope until I'm ready to, go to the next thing. And it's like staying in this world of fog. They're numbing themselves.
Yep.
So they can't be available to you.
Right.
They don't intend to be in the first place.
Right.
But what separates them from you is all their attempts to stay numb, to stay dissociated, stay detached. Right? Those of you who are in the chat box, which I'm going to go there in just a little bit here, I'm sure that you have put some comments in the chat box about how detached your parent has been and what that looks like. It could be drugs. It could be alcohol. It could be other relationships, women, men. It could be going to the casino every month. Gambling every day. It could be just sitting outside, gossiping with the neighbors. It could be anything. And the emotionally unavailable parent, they do this on a repetitive cycle, and even though the behavior may not be detrimental in and of itself, for example, sitting out and gossiping with the neighbors, that's not really detrimental. But what is that it happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I know all about that. I went through it.
And then guess what? It continues for many years to a place where you felt abandoned, or you feel abandoned because mom always sat outside and talked to the neighbors, never came in and helped me do anything, never called me, never texted me, never engaged in a deep conversation with me. Why? She was always sociable. Always. So that's the issue here, right? The behavior may not necessarily be bad, but the repetitive, cyclic nature of the behavior is the problem.
Had to pause it again. See, she preaching to me. Come on now. Yes, I had a caregiver that did that. That caregiver loved to go where everybody knows his name. When I tell you, all over the place. Everywhere except home, this person was. But wanted so much control because of the addiction problem. Where was the help? This adult should have been 302'd consistently until the problem stopped. Yeah, I'm a mandated reporter. I'm well aware of 302s. When a person needs to be mentally evaluated, someone needs to be brave enough to get that person the help they need. But what are we all doing? Not educating ourselves the right way when it comes to mental health. So people have this negative outlook on a 302. So you just let someone stay an addict? Let someone keep domestically abusing their family and you know what's going on? And then you got a lot of family members. Welcome, ZDXX. Welcome, love. You got a lot of people out here that's just sitting innately by. They know that White House is going down. It's going down in this house with this family. No one's doing anything to help. Not the type of help that's needed. You can't coddle an addict. You can't enable an addict. You have to do what's right. And a lot of the times, the right thing to do is one of the hardest things to do. But someone has to do it. You have to make a stand. Especially if children are being victimized in that situation. I, for one, have never been one that sit idly by. I was the scapegoat child. The hero child. I could tell you some stories that'll bring tears to your eyes. I had no business in these situations as a child. No business in these situations. Here, I'll give you one story. I was in my trusted adult's custody at the time. This trusted adult suffered from substance abuse and alcoholism. Lord knows what else. It was one day that they came in, and I always suffer with, I believe it's insomnia. I had trouble getting to sleep or going to sleep intentionally as a child. So anything would get me up. It could be a repetitive drip in the bathroom because the faucet's not turned all the way off and I'm up. So I would usually hear this trusted adult when they came in. So when I heard the door open and close, I went to go see, against my better judgment and what I was told. Go to bed. When I tell you this trusted adult was laying on the sofa to having what looks like a seizure, foaming at the mouth. Give me a minute. Even though that was my abuser, the love that I had for this trusted adult was amazing. I instantly was scared that they were dying. So at the time I was 12, I went down, lift this trusted adult's head up while they were shaking in their leather coat, foaming. Had to have been like 2:30, 3 in the morning. My other trusted adult at the time was not around. They were still, I guess, in bed. So I lift this person's head up, laid it on my lap, and just cried, holding them, saying, "Don't die, it'll be okay." I fell asleep doing that. And do you understand, by the time I woke up, that I was punched by this person and sent to my room, also headbutted. And I've been treated like that most of my life by this person that I just wanted love and attention by. This has got to stop. Stop watching children suffer and start being intentional, because I can give you worse stories than that. I really can. I really can. I had to learn how to unpack this trauma I've been through. How many other people have stories like this or even worse? Don't know how to unpack their trauma. Being gossiped about in families because their behavior is so off the hook. I wonder why it is. What was they exposed to as children? Who knew about it and did nothing to help? Nothing to get real help and work done, at least. But yet you want to run your mouth. You got nerve to run your mouth because they're problematic adults. Word? Let's get back to the content.
So what does research say? I'm going to go over this before I go back to the chat box. What does research say about emotionally unavailable parents? Well, let's start with a concept that's known as structuring. Structuring. Some research, and I'm going to make sure I post it in the description box so you can click on the links and go and check some of this out for yourself. But some research in psychology on child development highlights that parents have to have what's known as structuring abilities. Right. Structuring abilities.
Great, girl.
It's the ability to help you.
My husband and I.
Commercial break. Structuring abilities, very real. A lot of people that come from trauma, they don't know how to do that. They know nothing about structure. All they know is survival mode. A lot of people only know how to survive, especially from the struggle. And this high expectation for them to live and thrive. That's unjust. What are you doing to assist and aid in their poverty situation, in their abuse situation? What are you doing? So as you can see, when you don't help people when they're in need, look at what happens to communities. So a lot of people like, look, that ain't my problem, they struggling. Oh, but if that same person struggling turned out to be a pickpocketer or a thug, oh, now you care because now they're robbing you. Right. Come on now. We all need one another. Quit with all this separation and create some unity. My opinion.
But mainly as a child, to help you develop and expand your own knowledge, your own independence, your own autonomy. And it's really helping you learn how to navigate the world.
Right.
And how to do so in a confident, independent way. If your parent is checked out and numb all the time and detached
that part
and disassociated,
that part,
how can you have that parent help you understand your independence, your autonomy, your freedom, knowledge, things that you should know? How do you grow if you don't have somebody there to say, I'm going to make sure that your experiences are within these guidelines as much as I can so that you can be free and be safe and feel okay exploring life. Facts. You can't do that, right? An example of this, I'll give you an example. One of my clients years ago, she's no longer with me, graduated therapy, but one of my clients felt really alone when they were getting married. They felt really alone. Mom was not there to structure situations when she was a young child that could help her develop the social skills that she needed. So mom never set up play dates. Mom never took her outside to play with the kids in the neighborhood. Mom never took her to any, sporting events or didn't put her in dance, gymnastics, nothing. Mom kind of kept her isolated from the world. So she was not able to provide the structure that was needed to help her daughter develop social skills. Does that make sense, guys? So structuring abilities, she didn't have that. So she didn't help her daughter develop the social skills that she would need later in life. Once her daughter became an adult and decided to get married, she then started struggling with social anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. She really was having a hard time separating from her husband when they had to go to work every day, almost like a grown-up separation anxiety disorder. She found connecting with other people really awkward, really difficult, because mom never supported her autonomy, her independence, her ability to test the waters. Mom was never really there. So her checked out, emotionally unavailable mom didn't provide those opportunities. And so now she, became an adult and life was just that much more complicated for her.
Had to pause it again. That's what happened to me. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Hurt people. We out here doing the best we can. But when you have emotionally traumatized people that are raising kids, and don't let them have a spouse that's a substance abuse user, alcoholic, or any type of abuse, because to survive that, they'll go back to that emotionally checking out. And that was a serious dynamic close to home. No good. When I tell you I had trouble with what she just said, when my husband would leave out of town, I would feel very lost because I didn't have him around. And I would feel abandoned, almost like I was reliving my childhood again. And this was all blind, ignorant. I was mindless about it. Things were just happening to me and I just would emotionally suffer. Not even understanding what was going on with myself. And then guess what I do? Go outward, tell other people this, whine to them, and then they tell me what they think it is. And then I trust their judgment because I didn't have no judgment to go by. How many of us do that one? This is not right. This is not fair to us. We have to understand in what way we are broken. You can't put that on nobody else to figure out for you. Unfortunately. So even if you have to get professional help, do that. If you have children especially, do that. Quit thinking that you need a man or a woman in order to feel better. Nah, that's a temporary fix. Hypersexual behavior, you can't heal childhood trauma. Complex PTSD. Like, it's not going to heal that. First of all, you need to know that you have that. That's not your spouse's job to fix. They didn't do it. Oh, but guess what? You going to put them through some hell because you don't know who you showing up as. Happened to me. Happened to me. I didn't know I was using my husband to get my childhood trauma needs met. You think I knew that? Come on now. I ain't know that. Whole time I'm feeling all justified in certain ways I'm behaving, not even knowing it's attached to trauma of childhood. You think I'm the only one to do that? Oh yeah? Yeah. You want to bet? How many people is in their relationship right now codependent to their spouse, trying to heal some childhood trauma using their spouse? Poor spouse struggling like a mug. This ain't right. We have to do better. Our childhood trauma is all our own. And it's for us to fix. Really, I shouldn't have gotten no relationship until I fixed that. But because I was ignorant and lost and blind and mindless with it, I didn't know I had anything to fix. And how many people you think are doing that? Right. No. Let's get back to the content, shall we?
So research suggests that, this can be very impactful for your life in a negative way, not having parents who have structuring abilities. The other part of research says that most of these parents tend to be very intrusive. They don't give you the freedom to have your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Everything that you do has to be within the bounds or the confines of what they want.
Facts.
If you exceed that or go outside of that, you're the devil. Or if you exceed that or go outside of that, then you're going against them. Or now you're being unhealthy, or something is not to their level of expectation.
Girl, you better preach.
Right? So you may feel rejected. So research suggests that these kind of parents lack what's called non-intrusiveness. They tend to be very intrusive.
Bam.
There is also, according to research, what we call a bi-directional influence. Let me show you what this looks like.
Oh my God.
And I'm not going to do a whole diagram. I'm just going to show you what a bi-directional influence looks like.
I done fell out my shoe.
So that you can have a little bit of a visual.
Oh my God.
So a bi-directional influence. Bi-directional, if I can spell. A bi-directional influence looks this way.
Preach, girl.
This is the only way that I can kind of show this to you.
Please share my content.
Okay, here's a bi-directional
spread knowledge and
influence.
awareness.
The parent, influences the child. Oh God, come on, camera.
Anger.
There we go. The parent influences the child. Ooh, this is having a hard time focusing.
Parent.
And the child influences the parent. Ooh, I don't know why my camera is going in and out like that. That's horrible. That is awful. My goodness. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see if I get my camera to come back.
Bear with us, you guys. Bear with us.
But what's interesting about a bi-directional influence is this, that mom and child, dad and child influence each other. And mom gets angry and the child gets angry. And mom's anger triggers the child's anger. And so they're both triggering each other. And so research suggests that because of that bi-directional influence, the parent may emotionally disengage or dissociate so that they don't have to deal with that, right? So that they don't have to be triggered. And then the child may also avoid certain things because they don't want to be triggered as well. So there's a bi-directional influence. I hope that makes sense. And lastly, in this category, before I go to the chat box, I do have to mention that having a parent that's emotionally unavailable to you, and you are an adult child in this big world trying to live and make a living and really create a safe spot for you in this world to just thrive and live. Being an adult child with a parent who is emotionally disengaged or unavailable can really leave a lot of scars, especially if you have those scars from childhood. Now you have more scars as an adult.
Facts. I'm going to give you a story. Now, I'm going to put an alert out there. This may be, this is a trigger warning. This has to do with, I guess you can say it revolves around rape and things similar to that nature. So trigger warning, if that type of content is too much for you, feel free to exit right now, because I'm dropping this hot tamale. All right. When it comes to me and how I was influenced by my abuser, trusted adult, the way that he manipulated me in my mind, unfortunately, caused me to have poor judgment in certain situations. So I was a victim of incest, unfortunately. So in this situation, I was no longer living with my parents, and I was staying with a friend. I'll say that. So a family member of mine had drove past this house, giving no names, with another family member present. This family member was completely intoxicated, drunk. They had just left some type of event. They was having a good time and all that. So the family member had told the driving family member, I need to go in and make a phone call, such and such. So the driving family member said, all right, I'm going to leave you here. I'll be back to pick you up, etc. And I was really excited. I was always hyper excited and turned up, high arousal whenever I was seeing any of my family. Like, I'd be on one immediately, like, woo, fun, family. And then this specific family member, I guess you could say I newly met, because they were in jail for murder and other things. So that was why, I never met them. So this family member came in the house. I was just like so excited because by this time, what had happened? Some stuff transpired where I'll just say I was no longer able to live at home. I was around, 18, 17, 18, one of them. So I was like, do you want something to eat? Do you want this? So I made some ooza noodles, because he was hungry or whatever. And, I was just excited. And I found him to be cool. He was an attractive family member. When you got that cool family member or that cousin that's older, you like, wow, they cute, they handsome, they popping, and you kind of want to hang around them a lot. That's how I was. So long story short, this family member, this adult family member with a past I was told about, heavy in the streets, drug dealing, violence, definitely has killed people before. So I knew that. So it was, I guess you could say I had a bit of fear in the back, but I was, still excited about the family member. So out of nowhere, this family member aggressed me, like kind of walked up into my personal space. And by that time, I had been around, I guess you could say, inappropriate men enough to know that was a sexual advance. Instantly confused because, like I said, this is a family member. I was confused and instantly scared right away because I've been punched as a discipline by a man most of my life as a kid. I grew up on jaw hits. I could say I got beat with a belt maybe once. Everything else was fists. So I had that challenge too. So this family member was, walking up to me, saying certain things, like, I guess you could say, please don't make me feel bad about this. I feel bad enough. And I'm just trying to understand completely what they were saying because I was confused, and I had all of these challenges, like which this psychotherapist is explaining. And I didn't know how to get myself out of that situation. So in my mind, in my victim mindset at that time, in my mind, it was worse to be beat up and raped by this family member. So I submitted. So that family member didn't even realize I didn't want it because I was so scared to be raped and have to tell that story to my family members that I just submitted. So even to this day, this family member is on one, not accountable, and has gossiped about me. These are things that must stop. We need to do better with our children. I couldn't handle that situation then, especially being victimized all my life by a trusted adult. Aggressed all my life by a trusted adult. Sinking and no one knowing I'm sinking. Family has to do better with being aware of the pedophiles in the family and calling them out. When you sit and keep a secret because, this is such and such's son, this is such and such's daughter, you victimize other family members. That's no good. That person needed help. And it was unprotected. So guess what I did? I went to the clinic and I got the plan B so I would not get pregnant. And that person was close to one of my parents and begged me not to tell them. Guess who kept a secret for a little while? And I mean a very little while. Less than a year. I couldn't bear looking at this parent of mine and not telling them. So I told the parent. I'm not finna keep no secrets. You can miss me with that. Nope. And that family member, I hope they're watching. Because you know who you are. Yeah, I said it. And we need more people to speak up for themselves. Let me be your strength. Open your mouth. Stop suffering in silence. People stay being victims to people like who victimized me when you don't open your mouth. And I was beat in the submission a lot. So I had a fear of being beat by a man. Like I said, I have a lot of scars on my cheeks on the inside from getting punched in my mouth so much. Sometimes I'll bite down on them when I'm eating if I'm eating too fast. Yeah, listen, I got no shame. I'm wearing it all out to y'all in hopes that you get the picture. This is not a game. This is intentional and this is truth. Take it or leave it. But this here ain't for the weak. Let's get back to it.
Because life gets harder as we get older, right? Things change, commitments change, age changes us, right? Just life constantly shifts. And to have an emotionally unavailable parent can trigger not only a stress response, but can also trigger a lot of health conditions in yourself, a lot of mental health conditions, right? And it can also trigger a lot of ideas around wanting to estrange from that parent. Yeah. And research suggests that family estrangement, right, the child walking away from the parent, is more common than it ever has been because of all the things that we're discussing in this live chat. Now, I'm going to go to the chat box, but when I come back, I'm going to give you some insights before we wrap up on how this impacts you because it can have a great impact.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jim and VGen says, I never felt safe or secure growing up in my family. It has negatively impacted me and the way I see myself, others, and the world. Yes. Yeah. And that is the major impact. There's a lot of personal insight that most children or adult children miss when a parent is emotionally unavailable. It's hard to see yourself sometimes, right? It's just hard to see yourself, period. Sometimes a parent can be that mirror. They can put that mirror up to you. My mom does it to me all the time. What do you think that means, Tamara? Or if I'll go to her, I'll just say in passing to her, I just had this migraine for days. and I don't feel good. I don't want to go to work. I just feel drained. I feel exhausted. And my mom will hold up that mirror and she'll say, what do you think that's telling you? And I'm like, okay, that is the easiest question in the world, but it makes a lot of sense. Why? Because maybe I'm burnt out. Maybe I'm tired. And then it clicks. Oh, maybe I need to take this weekend off, right? So parents are supposed to be there to hold that mirror up to us. So Jim and Vijen, it's interesting that you say that, because that's one of the things that research in this area in psychology highlights. That it really shifts the way, the emotionally unavailable parent shifts the way that you see yourself in the world around you.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yes, Brent McDonald, thank you so much for bringing that up. I think that's wonderful. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to put that up on the screen so everybody else can see it. Jeremy Robinson, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Thank you so much for responding to Jim and Vijen. That's so kind of you. Give it a think. Hello and welcome back tonight. Glad to see you. Says, if I did not feel safe, protected, content, according to my mother, it was because I was intrinsically broken. My father could not have cared less. Yes. Sometimes blame, I'll put it that way. Blame is part of the emotionally unavailable parent, right? Sometimes they can't see all the damage they're doing. They can't see all the damage they caused or the damage they are causing, but they will be the first to point out that you are doing something wrong.
So true.
Right? They don't have emotionally unavailable parents, especially the ones that I've dealt with, do not have personal insight. Why? Because number one, they're too immature. Number two, they don't take the time to process how they're impacting other people.
Facts.
Number three, they may actually have a personality disorder. Most emotionally unavailable parents have unresolved bipolar disorder, have unresolved borderline personality or narcissistic personality.
Yes, girl.
Or they have a trauma history themselves and they really don't know how to manage it.
Right?
So there's things going on here with the parent that's not easy to see with the eye.
Yes,
there's a lot of internalized issues going on,
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. She is so right. Do you see? You know how many people are walking around undiagnosed? I research. I'm a science major. I love science. I did not do very well in school when it came to every subject. Well, I learned now that my brain is unique, So being as though I was more into science, I was less into other subjects, and especially being easily distracted. But for sure, when it comes to that is so true. It is so true how people are walking around here undiagnosed and no one is calling them on it because they probably don't want the smoke. Oh, I don't got time. I'm doing it. Oh, but you got time to gossip. Oh, I see what you're saying. Bye, Felicia. Listen, if you got time to gossip about the family member, you got time to assist. You got time to maybe put a 302 out. Is that not better than realizing or learning later that the family suffer and the kids suffer even more, let alone if a kid suicides? How do you live with yourself? I mean, I know it's a lot of people that, could care less, but how do you live with yourself? May you get instant karma. Because that's not me.
In their maturity and development. Roman T, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. I don't remember seeing you, so welcome. Says so well versed. I love hearing your beautiful spirit speak. Thank you so much for that. That's so humbling. Thank you. That's so nice. Yes, you're welcome, Jim and Vijen. Yeah. Cherry's Jubilee says Tam Fam is the best, right? I've just been blessed with so many.
She's reading comments. So I love this part, how she'll engage. I've actually been on one of her lives and she responded to my comments
as well. Don 1, hello and welcome. I was looking for you because I know you've shared this before. Don 1 says, my mother laughed at me Let me try this again. My mother laughed at me sadistically. I'm going to put it that way, Don One, while I explained how horrible it was as a child. Right, absolutely.
That's sad.
The last thing that you want to do with a parent that's emotionally unavailable is say to them, you know what, you were the worst parent ever. Yep. Why? Number one, they don't care.
No, they don't.
They're emotionally unavailable for a reason. Number two, they don't have personal insight.
No,
so
they don't.
When you say you weren't a good parent, you know, they're either going to laugh, chuckle, turn it into a joke, or they're going to minimize you in some fashion.
Validate the heck out of you.
They don't have personal insight, and some of them strictly just don't care.
So true.
Colibri Flyer, hello and welcome. Glad to see you back in tonight's live chat. Says, major narc sister checked on me the other day. If I'm okay, I felt that she was spying for my other two estranged siblings. Yeah, she could have been.
That's the thing.
I blocked them all. I know it's going to be isolating and lonely. It's temporary. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Yes, you
do.
If
you feel
I
that she was kind of like poking around just to get some information, you know, just to kind of gossip, maybe spying isn't the right word. Maybe you mean like just kind of trying to get details and information. Maybe you meant, you know, just trying to get some details that she could run back to your sisters with or your family. Either way, it's an ugly thing, right? Sometimes you do have to put an end to it. Starburst said, I had to stop sweeping real quick and get in the chat. Yes, I parent my mom, shaking my head. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Absolutely. Ah, that's awful. When you parent your parent, isn't that a lonely place to be for those of you who know what I mean by that? Who wants to parent their parent? When my mom is sick, I'm there. When my mom needs support, I'm there. When someone treats my mom like she's less than, I step right up. Excuse me, who are you talking to? Let's try that again. Right? So I'm very protective. But do I parent my mom? Absolutely not. My mom is here, and no matter how old I get, pushing 40, I'm here. Why? Mom is here, you know? And some of that is cultural too. But nobody wants to parent their parents, right? It takes something from you.
It does.
When you parent your parent, it takes something from you. It's like you're being robbed, right? You're being burglarized, for lack of a clinical term. You're not given the ability to just be the child, no matter how old you get. One thing I loved about the Golden Girls, do you guys remember the Golden Girls? Am I aging myself? I might be. I don't know. The Golden Girls, loved them. Watched them like I was addicted to the Golden Girls. I can't remember the little granny, the little Italian spicy mom. And she was the mom to the really tall golden girl. I can't remember her name now. It's leaving me. But what I always liked about their dynamic, and this is just an example for you to conceptualize what I'm saying to you. The daughter, no matter how old she was, she had gray hair, she was taller than her mom, she had a certain energy and motivation about her. But that little sweet Italian woman was still her mother. No matter how tall that daughter was, no matter how strong that daughter was, and even the daughter had white hair, okay? White hair like Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. That was still her short, loving, Italian, spicy mom. And mom had that energy that said, I'm your mother no matter what, right? So parents are always supposed to be the parent no matter what. When you parent your parent, you are being robbed. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. Can you change that? Most likely you can't. But that's where reparenting comes in. That's where being the parent that you never had.
That's what I had to do.
And we can get to that in another live chat.
It works.
Terry's Jubilee says, a bad childhood is no excuse. We had bad ones and didn't decide to abuse. Yeah, absolutely. Facts. Sometimes you don't decide to abuse, and that's a wonderful thing. Angel Warrior, hello and welcome. Glad to see you in tonight's live chat.
That was me.
Angel Warrior says, I'm just going to put what she says up on the screen for you. Okay, I'm looking for comments. Angel Warrior says, my mother told me at my graduation party in front of everyone that I had to get out. I was already making my exit because of her abuse and alcoholism. I bought my first real estate property condo. Wow, congratulations to you. I don't know if that's now or years ago, but congratulations. That's wonderful.
That is wonderful.
Take that step of independence, right? Yep. It almost makes you wonder, and my mom went through this with her own mother. It almost makes you wonder, are you drinking because you feel inadequate? Are you drinking because you're just that addicted to alcohol? Or are you drinking because all of this is too much? You don't feel like you played a role. There's some insecurity there, maybe some envy, maybe some jealousy. What's going on here? Why do you choose this opportunity to get drunk, right? Or is it just the simple fact that you can't handle your liquor, your alcohol, your beer, your wine, and you just lose touch with yourself? Whatever the case, it's a lack of responsibility and it's painful, right?
Yes, ma'am.
MNL Odell says, when you have parents just basically abandoning, oh my God, I'm sorry guys, abandoning their kids, I kind of wonder about sociopathy. Can't imagine being able to walk away otherwise. Well, absolutely. Sociopathy, I mean, there's many reasons, right? Sociopathy, not really wanting to be a parent, being detached, and not really understanding the role of a parent. Some parents have kids, and I think I said this week on my channel. Oh, geez. What is going on there? Hold on, guys. YouTube just sent me a message.
She is so on point. I love this woman.
I don't get that. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. Okay. But let me make sure that I don't have two live chats going at the same time. But how's that possible, guys?
Girl. Keep it coming, girl. Keep it coming.
Ooh, sorry. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully you guys are okay. You can see me, you can hear me. We're just going to keep going. I think I was saying that sometimes there's many reasons for why a parent can kind of just walk away, right? Sometimes it is sociopathy. Sometimes it's just, I don't know how to be a parent, right? I may have said this this week on my channel in passing, talking about other things, but some parents just should not be parents. You know, does most women want to have children and be a mom? Yes, most do, and they really have a hard time when they can't have children or bring children into the world or they can't adopt. But there are some parents that just simply should not be parents. You shouldn't be a dad and you shouldn't be a mom. And it's not always the pitting abusive parents. Sometimes it's those permissive parents.
Yeah.
Those parents who let their kids run all over other people. Yeah. Who let their kids terrorize and disregard other people's property and space. Sometimes it's those parents who just simply can't step up and set the right boundaries, the right structure, the right parenting, the right rules, right? Some parents just shouldn't be parents.
Facts.
And sometimes the ones who become parents are sociopaths.
Yeah,
and that
girl, that part, oh my God.
I hope that answered your question, your comment.
Sociopathic parents.
I think it was a very good comment. Thank you for that. Woo. I don't ever remember seeing you. So welcome.
Their kids. Oh my God.
May Eve. Hopefully that's correct. Welcome. Says, my mother reached out to me because of Milton. She didn't care when I was in a homeless shelter, but a major life-threatening situation. No one else reached out, and I'm a middle child of 5. Wow. They go on to say, I'm never going back home. Yeah, that's really sad. I'm so sorry that you're going through that.
That is sad.
Say that I'm a middle child of 5. It reminds me of birth order. You know, the psychology of birth order. The eldest child feels one way. I'm a middle child, and I don't really take on the characteristics of a middle child.
Yep.
I actually could be seen as the younger child in a sense, because I was
also
the favorite.
Stars
Hopefully
help
my brothers
me
are not watching,
create more
but I really
content.
was the favorite.
Support me with stars, y'all, and share this content if you
pampered
will.
and spoiled and supported and loved, you know. But you know, your statement reminds me of birth order, and sometimes that can make all the difference in how detached and unavailable your parent is, right? Even as an adult child. My older brother, I feel like, you know, there's been some pieces of my mom's raising of him that could have been better, but she was so young at the time. She had him when she was 18. She was so young at the time that I don't think she was really mature enough to have him and to raise him. So there's some areas there that I think contributed negatively to him in some ways. Did she love him unconditionally? 100%. I saw that. I can look at the videos from back then and see that, but and photos. But as you're pointing out, sometimes depending on where you're born, or sometimes that birth order can really dictate how much you get from that parent. You know,
follow her on YouTube.
It really can. And sometimes younger kids tend to get the bad end of the deal sometimes, because sometimes the parents are just that tired and they give up.
Yes.
And they say, you know what, you're my last child, do whatever you want to do. If you want to play video games all day, go right on ahead.
That is so true.
Right. So birth order
last
has
child
a big
getting away with
impact
murder because the parents exhausted by their turn.
Again, I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
Yep.
Okay, 2 more comments, guys, before I give you the last part of the content here. Sizzle 74, that's so cute. Welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to have you. Says, I tried for over a year to develop a relationship with my dad without my mom around after her death. Oh, yeah. I learned that he is a narcissist that I cannot have a relationship with. She goes on and says, he and my sisters can live happily ever all together in their dysfunction. Sometimes that's how it goes, right? There's just a nice little ball of chaos.
Oh, that's close to
home. I want to go back to what you're saying here for just a second. You said, I learned that he is a narcissist that I cannot have a relationship with. Absolutely. Sometimes if you have an emotionally detached or unavailable parent that's a narcissist, you're really in for it, right? Because number one, they're emotionally detached and unavailable for a reason. Number two, they've got to me, one of the most emotionally checked out diagnoses that you can have, and it's going to be hard to navigate life with them.
Yes,
because what you think may trigger them, affect them, push them, motivate them, change them. Is not what you think. You know, it's not what you think. It makes everything a lot more difficult, doesn't it? Having a parent that's a narcissist.
Oh my God, she ain't never lied. Oh my God. Do you understand how important this information is? You gotta, if you've been really listening, you gotta realize how important this information is. Oh my God. People struggling right now with their kids. Kids is going through right now. That breaks my heart. I swear for God, it breaks my heart. Because my heart goes out to kids. I'm a big kid at heart myself. You know, oh God. Oh man. I know I have so much information, y'all. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to explode and letters going to just fly everywhere. I got to get this knowledge out. I got to get it out. So I'm going to keep doing these lives. And I'm going to keep growing. I have a viral goal I'm reaching. And I will reach it. You know? I know this. This information gonna get out though. You know, I cannot sit idly by and know what I know and do nothing. That ain't never been me, and that's never gonna be me. This, what I'm doing, is not for the weak. And that one, that struck home. There's a lot of narcissists, I'll say, that's been in my life. I don't want to call people out. I mean, I could, but I'm not about to do that. Because, first of all, I don't want to trigger nobody. Second of all, I don't want the smoke. I live a peaceful life and I want to keep it that way. But I'm going to talk about it. And if the people that I've experienced, when I share these stories, you know they know who they are. And I'll see them, you know, at events or whatever. I'm all ears. I know how to speak. I didn't know how to speak back then. I know how to speak now. Holla at your girl, you know what I'm saying? But this work has to get done. And it ain't for the weak. It's for the strong. Only the strong is going to survive. Period. And I'm not going to be quiet. And I will not be silenced. Because nothing I'm saying is wrong. These discussions need to be had way more than they are. People need to keep it real way more than they do. People out here keeping it real fake. Real fake. Yeah, and that's got to stop. You showing up inauthentic and you trying to push authenticity. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do less. I'm gonna need you to know how you showing up. I'm gonna need you to. I'm gonna need you to do some self work. Because soon as I speak with someone, between your aura, between your energy, I'm vibing you probably deeper than you even realize. Now I'm not gonna tell you about yourself, but I'm gonna treat you according. You know, I'm not a disrespectful person, but a lot of people, they pass judgment on me because of how I show up. Some people, like to play me for a fool, take my kindness for weakness, think I'm a clown just because I'm so easygoing. Keep sleeping on me all you want. That's all I say. I laugh at that. Sometimes you got to learn how to laugh to keep from crying, because it's like that out here. And for me, I will always dare to be different just because I simply am different. I'm very unique and I love it. I stand out no matter where I am. I've always have. So what I want to do is I want to use that for some good. If I can help just one child, if I can help just one adult, then I feel like I've served my purpose. Because a lot of people are misrepresented out here, especially people that are suffering with mental health challenges. And they being talked about like a dog. At the same time, people that are not doing anything to help, but enabling people. We have to learn how to speak the tongue where people can receive it and stop being so disrespectful, so insultive, so unkind in your message. I remember someone told me, I'm gonna talk how I talk. Your feelings is your job. If your feelings get hurt, that's personal. Are you kidding me? You treat people the way you want them to treat you. I'm not for insensitive people. I do less around that. Respectfully. Soon as I meet that, I go the other way. Respectfully. I'm not argumentative. It's not about confrontation. But if I have to have one, I know how to do that too. We must learn how to talk. We must learn how to emotionally regulate ourselves. And we must learn how we are showing up. I used to be a bit of a pushover. Of course, I didn't understand it. I didn't know that to be a thing either. I was very lost, y'all. Very lost. And there's a lot of kids out there that's like that today. You hear this psychotherapist? And she's been in the business for over 10 years. She's really good at her job. Again, you should follow her on YouTube and listen to some of her videos. You'd be surprised. She might be able to help you realize something you're struggling with and you ain't even peep game all this time. But always, check in, make sure that you're speaking to some type of professional. Try not to diagnose yourself. You want to be safe as possible. So don't go doing that and be like, oh yeah, that girl, Emthecreative1 said, no, I ain't say self-diagnose. I said, educate yourself. I said, make sure you dare to be different and challenge yourself. Don't try to stay comfortable all the time, because you're not doing anything to change as long as you're comfortable. Change is uncomfortable. You have to not watch children be abused. You have to do something about that. And sometimes these adults that are suffering, like these narcissists, a lot of that is created in childhood. Like I know a little girl. She is very cognitive. She didn't have no ADHD or anything like that. She was loved. She got good grades. And she grew up around a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse. And then she was touched. So this girl disassociates. And a lot of times she would see things and they would be invalidated by her adults, because sometimes adults don't want to tell you. And it's not good to tell the adult business. So a lot of times she would be left invalidated. So after a while, she just stopped going to her parents. And then she started looking outward, trying to create a new mom or a new dad somewhere else that would help her make sense of what she's seeing all the time. And it created a wound. This girl created narcissistic behaviors to try to survive what she was going through. And I damn near watched it happen in front of me. It's the saddest thing when you have a child that feel like they have to do that in order to survive. And then the alter ego's right around the corner. And they do that so much they done lost their soul in it. Now they think this alter ego that they created, it's their authentic way of showing up. No, it ain't. That's who you created because you thought it wasn't acceptable to be you. So you created this person. And this is the person that's raising your children. Authentic you is sitting down in emotional timeout. What are you doing? We got to stop having kids have to do that. We got to start being more intentional and paying attention. And a lot of the times it starts with yourself as parents. If you come from the struggle, you've been affected by it. You come from trauma, you've been affected by it. Get you some help. Quit with all of this pride. Oh, too proud. I ain't nothing wrong. No, something wrong with you. I'm telling you right now. I'm watching how you're showing up. You need to start realizing it. And get out of this matrix with all these distractions. Can't get no work done if you constantly entertaining yourself. No, find a mirror and stand in front of that mug. Pick yourself apart to the last compound. And figure out why 1 + 1 = 2 in this joint. Stop waiting around. Stop blaming. Oh, no, put your finger down. You better use your thumb. What's going on with you? How are you showing up? Are you emotionally available? Are you drinking beers and alcohol every single day? You smoking weed every day while you're raising your children right in front of them? And then you were wondering why your child smoking weed by 13? Come on now. Not saying that it's not other influences out here, but when you have a healthy home base, you can lessen certain risks that your child would go and navigate because you'll be able to speak to them openly about things. What parent you know is speaking openly about the dangers of alcoholism if they're an alcoholic? Think about it. I'll wait. What mother you know is warning her daughter about, oh no, you don't want to, you want to have a career versus a job. You don't want to get into stripping and, selling your body. What mother is saying that if they strip and sell their body? I'll wait. A lot of these mothers, I'm not saying everyone doesn't do it, but come on now. Check the numbers. I've done researched it. You can't give what you ain't got. And if you didn't have available healthy parents, what do you think you are? Think about this. Quit getting so insulted and offended and get the message. It's your time to get healthy. It's your time. You suffered enough. Let's stop our children from suffering and figure out what we need to be healthier parents, mentors. Come on now. We got to do this for our babies. Ain't nobody else finna do it. I know a little boy that was a wonderful little boy. Moved up to a suburban area, lost his soul because these suburban kids is off the hook. You understand me? Their parents got good jobs because they got to pay for their house in the community that they live in. Taxes is high. These kids is on social media getting crunked. You understand me? We talking while the parents is at work having parties with alcohol, weed, inviting little girls over so they can get them high, and these little girls having unprotected sex at parents' houses now. And yes, I know about it. Listen, Linda, listen. I'm trying to tell y'all, these kids is far from dumb. And a lot of these adults they're not emotionally fluent. I told y'all when I had my first child at 20, I had an emotional intelligence of a 10th grader. A lot of these parents is emotionally on the same level as their child. How you finna parent like that? It ain't work for me. I had to seek professional help immediately. And I knew it. I wasn't too proud to do it. I made sure I got my child the help that they needed because I wasn't able to do it. And while I was getting her help, guess what I did? I got me help. I ain't worried about what nobody had to say. And while I was doing that, I reached out to family. I wasn't too proud to let them know I was struggling with my child. And one of the most important family members that was there for me is the one that's on this live right now, my Aunt Renee. She was very supportive. in a lot of different situations. Some she don't even have a clue what was going on. And if she did, I know she would have did something. But you got to understand toxicity, narcissistic people, addicts. Oh, they good at keeping secrets. Oh, yeah. Good at controlling kids with fear. Huh? Come on now. I took one of my abusers to court for domestic violence at 18 years old. Because this person picked my baby up drunk. Came in, disturbing the peace. My baby was 3 months old? Came and picked my baby up. Called me a young dumb mom and commits to walking around drunk and stumbling and tripping over his own feet, refusing to give me my child because that person wasn't able to get the attention from someone in the house that they wanted because they didn't want to be bothered. You reek of alcohol. You're a drunk. Where you been? You've been missing it. So I was always the target. So I spent 30 minutes chasing this person drunk around for my 3-month-old baby. What? This person spit at me. I ducked it. Called me young dumb mom, hoe, every word you can imagine. While I'm trying to get my child back. This is a real story for you. It's something real right here. Ask constantly, could you please give me my child back? It's the scariest thing when you're dealing with a drunk. Them bloodshot red eyes, the reeking of alcohol. That's actually a trigger of mine. When I'm around someone, if they reek of alcohol and it's seeping through their pores, I instantly travel. But I know how to self-soothe. I know how to get through that. I already have my work. I've been through very intense therapy amongst all kind of things. Spiritual stuff. Oh, geez. And all kind of stuff. Oof. Okay. So we're going to have to abort the live. Some stuff is going on with alarms and stuff. But I hope you guys learned a valuable lesson out of this live. And I will be back now. We just got to fix that. Oh, it fixed itself. Look at that. Won't he do it? Sorry, I got my fire alarm system is very loud. As you can imagine, it's not like your regular alarm system. That joint, I remember one time it went off 1 a.m. when I tell you PSD, I traumatized out of sleep. Oh my God. But a lot of times it'll test itself. So my apologies for that, y'all. But when I tell you I was chasing this person around for my child, the person ran down the steps of my child. Oh my God, y'all. When I tell you my heart was going 1,000 miles a second. Because he almost tripped and fell down the stairs with my 3-month-old baby. Oh my God. So oh God. Sorry, I'm traveling, y'all. I'm traveling. Bear with me. Eventually I get my baby back, but not without a lot of abuse. And I went to take her, and when I tell you he pushed me so hard, I went through the laundry sink and through the wall. I took pictures of that because I took it to court with me when I went to press charges. But unfortunately, because I was still living in my parents' house, by the time that court date come where I got to see that person's true colors, I'll never forget that court date. I was told, I have to move out. So, my mom assisted me because I was very lost. And I had a suicide attempt at 18 that I didn't do. I was able to move back in, and I was able to seek counsel because I wasn't about the lifestyle I was living with certain people. I'll say that. I was very naive. I was very ignorant to what is going on in life. I was just hyper focused on fun and fitting in. And I would find myself in very compromising situations with people that I trusted. As someone that didn't know any better. So by the time I got my child back, I was able to call the police. And they assisted me with, drawing up papers and giving me the information I need so I can go downtown to file for domestic violence. But I also had an incident when I was pregnant with my child. I was, hit while I was pregnant by my abuser. Listen, it get deep. So when I tell you, parents, stop just getting by. Get yourself checked. If you know you've been through trauma, get help. Your child don't deserve what you about to do to them. And you don't deserve struggling with this. So don't let nobody have to tell you, oh, you're broken, you got it. No, you do that. You do that. You help yourself. Don't wait around. Don't wait till you ruin your child. I got so many stories I could tell you. I know a woman. Oh my God. I know a woman that is raising a young boy. She's not emotionally available because of her childhood trauma. When I tell you how she disciplined this boy was with fists. And I tell you, I've watched it since he was 1 year old get punched in his chest as discipline. I love this boy so bad. But she was troubled. And of course, she didn't realize it the way she needed to. But her son suffered. And all he wanted was his mother. And because she wasn't available, and because her abuser was a man, it was certain ways she couldn't see her son for who he was in the moment. So she had a lot of challenges with not perceiving him as a threat. And the physical abuse was real. I couldn't watch it a lot of the time. I really couldn't. So I would just try to be as available as I could for her, to try to help out with him, because I couldn't take watching it. And I knew it was something wrong with her. But the challenge was she was successful. She was able to get jobs. She was thriving. She was really passionate. She's very successful. But that's not to be fooled. Sometimes the most successful people are hiding behind closed doors. They're depressed, bipolar, sometimes don't even know it. Numbing, overly controlling of their children. Sometimes the kids can't be kids around certain types of narcissistic parents. Everything has to be in their control. And in this specific woman, if they had certain behavior that mimicked, like, I guess you could say high arousal behavior, hyperactive behavior, that was a trigger for the woman. And she was very aggressive verbally with how she would discipline. So the verbal abuse was real. And like I said, because she's raising a son, she felt it was appropriate to be punching him up in his chest, starting at age 1. Are you kidding me? That shit used to grind me up so bad, I swear. Oh my God, I can't watch that. That's the type of stuff that I just, oh boy. Come on now. You shouldn't be punching no child. If you don't have the tolerance and patience, give them away. And I know a woman that did that too. I know too many women that beat on their children like they was some random on the street. Just because you can't control the behavior. You know nothing about raising a child. We have parenting classes out there. You know why? I've been to it. I got a certificate because I graduated from a parenting program. It's all kind of things you could do to improve your parenting. So I don't want to hear the excuses. You can say that for someone else. Accountability. Intentionalness. That's what I'm looking for. That's what these kids need. You show them how it's done and stop telling them how it's done. Kids, watch before they listen. Let's get back to the content.
Comment. How to.
Oh, commercial. That must mean I need to talk a little bit more. So let me give you another story. I used to collect crack vials because they came in different colors. I grew up around it. Also, the trusted adult used our spatula in our house to cook crack on. I found it in the basement on top of one of the heating ducts. Was down there looking. Also, this trusted adult would have pornography magazines around the house, despite being told to remove them. I seen those. When I tell you exposure, kids are not dumb. Kids are observant. The best thing you can do is make sure you keep inappropriate things out of your home or in a lockbox. Let me tell you some more. I was taught to lie to my mother. I was taught that she's not important. I am. Here's the content. Let's get to it.
GB Joe says, started working at 12 years old, small town burger place, bought clothes and some food, given a car at 15 and bought everything I needed. Worked at truck stop restaurant on the weekends. Good for you, girl. I was so happy for you. Because here's what you're saying. You're saying, I'm going to be independent. And I'm going to add to the scenario kind of what I'm seeing that you're not saying. That this emotionally unavailable parent was not there. You jumped in, had to do what you had to do, had to make a living for yourself, provide some stability.
Well,
that's sad because it shouldn't be that way, right? But it was. And it sounds like you did a really good job in supporting yourself. Sometimes you have to, right? It still doesn't erase, though, that was so unfair to you. So unfair. Okay, guys, let's get back into the content so we can wrap up here in a little bit. So how does this impact you? The number one thing psychology says is there's a lot of emotional and social loneliness that happens. Let me explain what that actually is. Social loneliness says, or basically shows, I'll put it that way. Social loneliness shows that you are actually in the presence of people and you may be around them day in and day out, but you're still lonely on the inside, right? So you feel lonely even in the midst of all of these people. Emotional loneliness is, okay, I'm living my life, I'm doing everything I need to do, but I feel so all alone emotionally. I feel like I'm you know, this black hole. You know, like I'm not seen. I don't feel seen. I love how some of you say on my channel here in the chat box, I feel seen. Thank you for seeing me, you know? Well, it could be the total opposite when you have a parent like this. As an adult child, you have that social loneliness. I'm lonely at the core of who I am, even though I'm around tons of people. And you also have that emotional loneliness. You can have that emotional loneliness that I just feel dark. I feel hidden. I feel like this nebulous creature in the universe, right? I'm just going through the daily motions, doing what I need to do, being around people, and yet I still feel invisible, you know? The other thing is epigenetics. I'll put it that way. Epigenetics, that kind of plays a role into this as well. You can actually inherit trauma genetically. Having a parent who is checked out, dissociating, detached, emotionally unavailable can actually trigger certain parts of the brain. And it can trigger what we call the pituitary gland. I'm going to break this up because I don't want to go into this full scientific example. But all of the stress that comes with an emotionally unavailable parent can actually trigger the pituitary gland. When the pituitary gland, which is like a little pea-sized structure in the brain, when it starts releasing what we call stress hormone or cortisol, then we become stressed and overwhelmed, and then we go right into fight or flight mode. We go right into fight or flight mode. And we can stay in that mode for hours, days, months, and years. That's why some people who have complex PTSD, which is kind of known as the relationship trauma, or the relationship trauma label. If you say I have complex PTSD, it's most likely because of a relationship, family, or other kind of relationship. So where was I, guys? I totally lost my train of thought there. I think I was trying to explain that the pituitary gland, once it releases cortisol and the stress response happens and you go into fight or flight mode, you can stay stuck in that mode for many, many years, especially if you are still in a relationship with your parents. So if you haven't gone no contact and you're still in the life of that unavailable parent, that emotionally unavailable parent, it can just trigger fight and flight mode constantly. And you may feel like your body is just constantly just running like a car engine. There's no calm.
I had to pause it. That's what I had. I've been diagnosed with complex PTSD, childhood. And my abuser to this day still wants to be in touch with me. And I didn't understand whenever I was around my abuser, because it's a family member, whenever I was around my abuser, I would be so anxious. And I didn't know that it was anxiety. But it was so high, and I would just be so uncomfortable, and I would just be around them. And then I had family members saying, no, that's not right. You should be this. You should give a chance. So I would people please them while I'm sitting here taking the biggest hits in my life emotionally. You are allowed to separate from your abuser. Don't let no one guilt trip you into forcing yourself to stay in that relationship, because they don't know what you've been through. Family members will do the best they can, but sometimes they're part of the problem. And you have to know it for what it is. Trust your gut. Trust how you feel. That's your divine knowing. You don't have to ask nobody about that. That's for you. And only you. You trust how you feel. You don't trust what they say.
Right? So you can have chemical changes just being around this kind of a parent. There's also a lack of a cultivating relationship with these parents. A relationship between a child and a parent, an adolescent and a parent, adult child and a parent should always be one that is cultivating, right? Yep. The parent should always be there in an equal relationship where you guys are cultivating a connection, cultivating respect, cultivating equality, mutuality, reciprocity, right? But when you don't have an emotionally available parent, they are detached and unavailable, you don't have that cultivating relationship. So there's a lack of that.
Right.
You may also notice high reactivity in your family or a high conflict personality in that emotionally unavailable parent. God, that's like saying, 900 words at the same time. It's hard to get it all out. But if you have an emotionally unavailable parent, it's likely that they are also high conflict and they are highly reactive.
Yes.
They always want to fight, always want to argue, always want to defend, right?
Oh my God.
That's a possibility, and I see that a lot in my practice.
Yes,
you may also have social skills deficits, right? The parent-child relationship is the most important relationship in the world, right? Yes. When you lose that, a trusting, loving adult relationship, that can impact you. And you can become an adult with social skills deficits. That's a possibility.
Exactly.
There may also be this unwavering mischaracterization of you. Unwavering mischaracterization of you. The parent can mischaracter you, can misunderstand you, can label you something. Why? Because they don't want to have the responsibility of being your parent. They don't want to have the responsibility of being there for you. So what do? They say you're immature, you're incompetent, you're the problem, you have borderline personality disorder, you're the narcissist, you're the one inflicting the pain, you're the one doing the damage, right? So sometimes they develop they develop this unwavering mischaracterization of you. And it really is delusional. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. There may be displaced or misplaced anger and hostility. There may be poor interpersonal or relationship communication between the two of you. And you may also find yourself or find this kind of a parent, I'll put it this way, you may find this kind of a parent vacillating between their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Oh, man. They're very undecided, very uncertain. They lack personal insight. So there's constant vacillation. So true. Between their fantasy and reality. Sometimes these kind of parents are just stuck in their mind. They live in a fantasy. This is a lot, right, guys? It's a lot to take in. And if you have had an experience with a parent like this, you most likely know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Let me know in the comment section below in the chat box what you think of this. I'm going to go back to the chat box so that we can wrap up. Tomorrow, I'm going to be discussing narcissistic parents and how delusional they can be. And we're not just talking about delusional disorder. We're talking about the narcissist who really lives in a fantasy. And they truly believe that the way they see reality is the way it is,
Oh
and
my
it is
God,
not.
yes.
So we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Yep.
I hope you can join me.
I'm enjoying that.
Says, oh my God, my sister who is a therapist without a therapist is doing the emotional incest with her narcissistic daughter. My sister becomes the child, the daughter becomes the parent. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Let me just also say, just because someone is labeled a therapist and they're smart enough to get through school doesn't mean they're a real therapist. So I just want to throw that out there. I think a lot of people hear the word therapist, and they're like, really, a therapist? What?
Yep.
You know, I have a lot of colleagues I look at sometimes and I'm like, wrong field.
Yeah, right?
Wrong field. Freddie Tubes? Oh my God, that is such a funny screen name. Hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Jeremy Robinson says, my mom and stepfather is like that. They trauma dump. Yeah, there you go. They trauma dump. That's a good word. All of their issues on us from their childhood to their marriage, they come to us to complain. Yeah.
That's the thing. Big time.
Trauma dumping is common.
Yeah, it is.
It's common. I see that in some sessions that I've had in the past with clients from the last couple of years, and I'm like, oh my God, don't say that. Don't do that.
Oh my God.
It's okay to share.
Yes.
It's okay to self-disclose like I do sometimes. It can actually be very therapeutic. And I do that with you guys on here too. It's also okay to say, this is what happened to mom. And it really had an impact on me. Okay, that's normal. But if you're taking all of the trauma and you're literally saying, here, carry this, and the parent is asking you to carry the burden, whether it's direct or indirect, that's a lot. That is definitely trauma dumping.
Yeah.
MomTube, hello and welcome to tonight's live chat. Glad to see you. Yeah, blessings to you as well. Thank you for that.
Preach, girl.
Okay, Danny.
Thea.
Brahma. I know I messed that up. Forgive me. Hello and welcome. Glad to have you in tonight's live chat. I don't remember seeing you before, so welcome. Glad to have you.
Girl.
Okay, just looking for comments. I don't want to miss you guys. Kat, hello and welcome. Glad to have you, and thank you so much for that kind comment. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight for now. But I hope this teaches you guys something very important when it comes to emotionally unavailable parenting. As you can see and hear, it's a problem. We need not to be doing it. We need not to be supporting others that we may think is doing it. We have to be more intentional, more supportive, and more aware and self-aware, most importantly. If we want to be active when it comes to positive change in our communities, in our families, in our lives. You have to do better. We have to do better. We have to unite. And I'm going to be back with that Willie Lynch speech because I can't press that enough. The breaking down of the mentality and the mindset, it's a lot. It's also a lot of things that we have been misinformed about. Do you know the human body would benefit the most off of an alkaline diet? Do you know controlling the acidity levels within the body, high acid levels, and things to that sort can cause a lot of problems when it comes to cancer and other things. There's certain things that we have to do when it comes to our diet that we're not being informed properly about. I'm going to be sharing that in another live as well. Our overall wellness has to increase, improve. There's a lot of things we actually can self-heal ourselves from. That this is for entertainment purposes only. There's certain things that we can do that we could do that'll benefit us when it comes to our overall health. And we may not need to rely so heavily on pharmaceuticals. Herbal healing is real. I've healed myself when it comes to a lot of things. And I know this to be a fact because I'm living proof of it. Yeah. Not only did I lose a dramatic amount of weight in a very interesting amount of time, but I've managed to change my lifestyle completely. Even my husband sometimes struggles with my change because I'm really different in a lot of people's experience that have known me in the past. And it's changed for the better. But sometimes change affects everyone in your life. And sometimes people may not like your change. Try not to look too far into it. But make sure that you don't regress, anything like that. If you start losing people in your life, stay at it. Stay focused. Sometimes these journeys, these type of wellness journeys, they can be very lonely. But it's all about becoming good with being alone and being okay with it. It's not the worst thing in the world. When you can sit in your own presence and in your own company and be okay with it, you're in a good place. Because if you can't enjoy you, how can you enjoy anyone else, really? We have to get to a place where we accept ourselves for who we are. And if it's something about ourselves we don't like, we be intentional. Figure out what it is and how to change it if we choose to do so. But definitely don't just sit idly by and watch children be abused and just talk about it and gossip. For these are our future adults and will be seniors. Can I not stress this enough? We don't want you don't want a bunch of desensitized children growing up to be desensitized adults that really don't care. That does not seem like a hopeful future. You see, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. It's a lot of things going on. And again, this is for entertainment purposes only. So you want to make sure that you research things and you want to make sure that you improve yourself. Most importantly, start with the self. I hope this helps. I really do. And share this video with your friends, with your family, in hopes to spread the awareness. That way people don't have to suffer in silence and think that it's them. I hope that I'm able to help at least one family out there, But I hope that you guys have a pleasant rest of your day. And I'll be back. I'm pretty consistent now. So I'm going to be posting on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be my days off now. I have a lot of content. And December 10th will be my 1-year anniversary of being a content creator. Because that's when I started last year, December 10th, 2023. So I'm coming up on my anniversary, so I'm going to be celebrating that. Yeah. I'm just a mom. I'm a certified nursing assistant. I'm a medical assistant. I have a lot of skills. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a lot of skills. I'll just say that, self-made, and I had a lot of people that really put into me, and I thank them because it was a lot of people that took advantage of me. I just didn't know that that's what was going on. I was very lost. So I thank the people that were in my life for the better. And it helped to better me. I thank them. I'm grateful for that. But, the people that victimize me or whatever, I just pray for them, because at some point in their life, I'm sure they were a victim. It's just hurt people. So we want to start giving back and we want to start leading with love, not hate. You got to let that go. It doesn't serve you well. It just kills you inside out. So have a wonderful rest of y'all day, y'all. And I'll be back, of course. But be well. Much love.